he replied to something. So
Oh,
T said he'd be late. Retro could be late if he's joining.
Yeah, I'll be real with you. 5 o'clock kind of fucked me up because I low key usually take a nap before this podcast starts.
Now you can take one after.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm gonna conk the fuck out.
I'm gonna watch Top Gun Maverick as soon as we end the podcast.
I've learned not to take naps anymore. It actually makes me even more tired. But what I say like about the original God of War is like in the normal like combat and stuff, it does start getting repetitive. You know, there's only so many times that you can witness like that Minotaur kill.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just doing mashing the X button for the quick time events, even though it's still fun, it gets repetitive. But then like during the boss fights, oh man, like when you first fight the Hydra and stuff, it's just so epic. I know it's not like fully engaging because you're just watching a cinematic, but it's still nice to have a little bit of connection to it. Because some cinematics you will just watch, you'll find that in Vanquish, you know, it's like, you know, he'll do things that you just never do in the game, and you're just watching it.
Mm-hmm.
But at least it's still some level of interactivity having a quick time moment in there. And I think for most people, it's just obviously the level of forgiveness, isn't it? You know, the timing that you have, you know, to get it done. That winds people up.
Yeah, we're talking about quick time events for those that had just joined.
Yes,
I forgot
sir.
it was Halloween.
Alive,
I should have.
live.
Yeah,
We should have dressed up. That would have been fun.
I forgot it was Halloween. My kids have been out. So I've got like a witch's hat or something around here, probably.
I got a pirate's costume, but too late.
Oh wait, I tell you what I do.
Oh, it's too late. Wait, hold on. I can grab a hat real quick. I'll be right.
All right. So I guess I'll just keep y'all entertained. What's up? Oh, we got a pumpkin. Nice. I don't think I have any Halloween decorations anymore, or any fall
There you go.
decorations.
Got my pumpkin. Let's go.
So
I say I never participate.
we were before the stream started. We were talking about QuickTime events, and
Yep.
you know what? It's like I'm not like angry if there's some in a game, but it can, like, the worst parts of Bayonetta 1 for me were the QuickTime events. That straight up. I just wish they weren't in the game. I think the game would be better without them. You said, you know, there's some in God of War. Yeah, it was fun the first few times, beheading or ripping the horns off the Minotaur or whatever you did in those first couple God of Wars.
Yeah,
it was the first couple times. Was awesome.
Or like with when you first fight Medusa in the first game, and you have to do the quick times, you know, the circle of the analog stick in order to rip a head off and stuff. You know, initially it feels quite engaging because you are essentially doing a motion of ripping a head off with the circle of the analog stick. But like I said, after a while, once you do it so many times, unless the set pieces are right, it just starts feeling like a regular enemy. Then it gets a bit, you know, repetitive.
Yeah.
I understand that.
And then even in the remake, something that feels like is close to, it's not technically a quick time event because you have unlimited time, but I hate moving the camera until you see the little white indicator, and then you press X and then he can jump to climb. And it's like, why do I have to look at the very right spot, get a little indicator to climb? Like, it's like...
What's this on, say?
That's God of War 2018.
Oh, right, sorry, yeah, I know you mean.
You got to get to the edge of a ledge, wait to the prompt, and then you can jump. You know, it's like, that stuff's...
But it's not platforming, is it? It's,
no. Might as well just have it be automatic at that point, because it's not adding anything to the gameplay to have me have to look around, wait for the... I don't know if it's a button prompt or a little white circle like a lot of PlayStation games. Hit triangle, and then he lunges forward. Move the camera, lunge forward. It's like, come on, like, just either have me climb normally or just have me watch
know
that.
Kind of like, I know why they done it in obviously that new game, because they literally wanted the whole thing to be a cinematic experience, and to have Kratos like jump off and then fall stupidly to his death out of player error would just look, you know, silly, and you know, break that spell, you know. But
yeah,
is it really worth it though, to me, to sacrifice? I guess
to me it's just have him climb. Just do a quick little cutscene of him climbing. It doesn't add anything. There's nothing you can do. There's no encounters. There's nothing. You're just basically, it's basically a quick time event with unlimited time. There's no timing to it. It's just pointless. I'd rather just watch him climb up it real quick in a cutscene or something.
In the previous God of Wars, when you were climbing up the walls, they had tons of mechanics with your whip. You could like whip
Yeah.
the enemies above you, or grab their
Yeah,
leg and pull them down and
you
stuff like that.
cannot do that.
Honestly,
Which
I
is-
didn't care
There-
for that either. Like where you're
Well,
kicking
it's
the
not
guys
so much.
below you.
I understand. I understand.
But at
you're
least it
not-
kept you engaged.
You're not caring for it, how the way it was executed. But
Mhm.
think about if they actually done it the way you would have liked it executed in this game. With a bit more, beef to it, like and a bit more, finesse to it.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
it-
definitely a way
then
they
it works
coulda-
great.
The problem is they still want to have those sections in the game. So I guess in the old games, that's what they did to keep you engaged with it. But the problem with the new game is that it literally is usually in areas where you're not fighting enemies or after you've already beaten enemies and you're kind of just traversing. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I get it,
It's
but
pure story, isn't it? Pure story with maybe a slight element of deviation. If you go down the left path instead of just going straight, you go for about 10 seconds and then find a chest, or something like that. Like
Yeah,
it's,
so
they don't take you too far.
right.
if there's nothing to gain out of it, if there's no secret to find, if there's not an alternating path or an enemy to fight, like that specific, there was like, I think it was the volcano like realm. Forget, I don't know all the names. But you had to climb to the top, and it was just like this
What's it called?
this slow process. Like this doesn't add anything. Like I even recorded it and said, this is what you call gameplay. I think I even put it on YouTube, and a couple people got mad at me for saying that. Like, this ain't gameplay. This is just, I mean, technically I am pressing a button in its most strictest definition, but I'm moving the camera until an icon tells me I can do something. That's just to me, that doesn't add anything to it. I'd rather just get over with, show him climb, just like you show him fighting this giant creature that you can't fight in the game, and he takes on this giant boss basically in a cutscene. Just show him climbing.
I find it odd because, if you want to keep things, you can still keep things cinematic with an element of skill and depth to it. Now, for example, you got like the original Half-Life games, especially I'll direct it to Half-Life 2, where at the very first start of that game, you are essentially escaping through an apartment building. It's all scripted in a sense, but you're still having to move through it. And it's very cinematic, but you can still effectively fall off the ledge if you just, be stupid and not focus on the ledge that you're running on. But it doesn't ruin the cinematic nature of it. If you fail, it fades out and you go back to the, to the start of the sequence or to wherever they decide to, put you back to. But you're still in there. So I don't think you need to sacrifice, some fundamental adventuring, platforming, skills in order to keep something cinematic like they try to do with many of their games.
That's a good pivot we can take. But I want to say, Blizzak Go, thanks for the £2. I don't know.
Blizzak?
I don't know. I don't know. People, donate. It's appreciate it. I don't.
It's appreciated.
I'm gonna pass it on. Look at this guy.
My God. Oh my God.
You can't wear that. You can't wear that
He
coat.
made the effort, man. He made the effort.
TOS, man.
Hello.
You didn't.
I
You
just,
didn't sleep
was
with
in
the
a- I was in
appropriate
an
character.
accident.
You can't. You didn't. Shepard didn't have sex with the appropriate character. You can't wear that coat.
Hey man, I'm a Mario fan today.
I'm done.
So anyway, thanks Blizzak Go. I will be doing another
call it
gift,
Joker from
another
now on.
gift video or gift giving video before the year's out, like we did. Was that earlier this year or last year? Where I'll be sending you guys some more gifts. They might.
Oh shit.
They might lean more towards funny this time. I don't know. We'll see. But I'll take any donations. I mean, any of the donations I get, which you don't feel obligated at all. I will be doing that again. So.
Balan was more than enough. I don't need anything
Did
else
you?
in my life.
You played a little bit of it, right?
I did. I will go back one day. There's priorities now. There's priorities.
That's an evergreen title right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you want to call
In
that.
terms of like a horrific discussion, that's
Going
evergreen
back to
quote.
torture myself.
All right, so let's go. Let's pick up where Clocked It left off.
Where did I leave off?
When you're talking about a game that's like
Half-Life 2.
has a cinematic feel to it, and then you have these fail moments where you're trying to climb or something, and your character falls and dies, and then you start off on the ledge. In God of War, I don't think that would have worked. To me, that that wouldn't work. That's why I'm saying just show a cinematic from climbing the damn mountain. If there's nothing engaging, there's no real benefit to having me move the camera and press a triangle a few times, then just have that be a cinematic. Don't have that be requiring anything because it doesn't add anything.
That game
But
would have a lot of cinematics.
I don't want fucking Kratos falling into lava, and in that game, it just, to me, that would kind of feel off. It'd feel out of place. Even though you die 100 times fighting Valkyries and stuff, it just would feel weird falling off a cliff, you know?
Well, with it, I mean, it works in like the new Tomb Raider games, which are similar structure.
Yeah, it does, but
those are better.
They kind of established like the deaths from falling like early in the game. Like right away, you learn.
I can't actually agree with that.
But right away, that game, you learn that deaths are gonna be a part of these scripted sequences, And with God of War, it'd have to do it right away. You couldn't just throw it in a few things, but it just
God of War could have made it like a power fantasy, like you're doing something ridiculous instead of just climbing like a mountain. You're like fucking like spring hopping across like giant.
Well, he does that to get
land.
on the top of a freaking giant dragon at one point.
Yeah, but that's like one time.
Add something extra to his death, like like if he dies somehow, like he gets like pulled into the underworld by Valkyries or something,
and have Atreus yell,
"As Kratos!"
Yeah. Or you could have Atreus yelling, "Father!" Like, or be like, "Cray!"
Your audio cut out when you said it.
It cut out.
Yeah, it went.
It
cut out when you said father.
Cancellation.
The noise cancellation canceled all of the noise.
But I don't know. For me, that game, I would say, it just would feel weird now. I mean, if it did it from the beginning, I wouldn't probably think twice about it. But thinking about it now. But the Tomb Raider ones, I mean, there was plenty of times you could fall to your death. Like, they established that, that's part of the climbing, there was a chance to die. It wasn't like Uncharted where you literally cannot fall. You can you can try to press down and jump all you want. You're never going to die. And at least Uncharted 4.
There's a small chance to die in Tomb Raider because they still made Lara just automatically go on beams or jump towards stuff.
But I guess the point is the fear of death was enough. I guess
there's still a little bit of it there.
The reason why I would just say with God of War, I think would have been nice is a good way of subverting it because the man is a god. Instead of having him having those climbing sections, since they're kind of brain dead anyway, make them ridiculous and brain dead. People don't understand. People tend to can enjoy something more when there's some personality behind it. So if I got to do a climbing section, if I got to jump over a gap, instead of having it be like this little clip where I have to skip over it, have it be like a whole bridge is gone, and I just press a button and do this fucking King Kong jump in midair and slam on the other side of the mountain. Like I want some spectacle to it, damn it. But see, I think
they added stuff in. I can't believe we're on God of War yet for our topics, but at the beginning when he's fighting. What's the first god guy? He's fighting a.
The one that can't die, the one that can't feel pain.
Yeah,
I
can't remember his name now. But anyway, when he's fighting him, Kratos. You see him actually charge himself up and like renew his health. And he's like,
wasn't
and
he called
all the blood disappears. No. It's.
I don't think he has a name. I don't think he has a name.
It's like
what's it?
Freya's son.
Begins with B, isn't it?
It's Freya's son.
Yeah, but I don't think he ever gets a name. I don't think
he has a name.
He does get a name. He does.
Dude, it's
I can't bother googling it.
He has a name.
But, Rob,
in
Google skills, man.
The first encounter, he's just called the Stranger or some shit.
The Stranger, there you go.
Yeah, in the first encounter, he's called that. That's why I'm blanking on his name.
Well, you don't know his name because you were chit chatting the whole time you played the game, so you.
Yeah, but still trying to stick with that. Still trying to stick with that. Not to break the cinematic and trying to engage thing. Have Kratos die, but then stand back and just go, and you have to start again after he wakes up somewhere or something.
You know what? Somebody asked me at work about pet peeves, and I was trying to think because he said on Tinder some girl asked him what his pet peeves were, and he's like, man, I really think about that, and I was thinking about it too, and I'm like, man, and it took me a while. I thought of one. and I'm trying to think. Oh, I know. It's
Retro.
when you're at a yeah, retro death. Retro death is my pet peeve. When
was
you're
so
at a
disrespectful.
restaurant, it's usually my mom and sometimes my sister. She'll hold up the menu and point as she tells the waitress what she wants.
I
This
do that all the
waitress
time,
has
man.
the fucking
Why?
menu memorized. You don't need to point. It does not benefit her at all. She's looking to write down what you want.
I do that all the time.
She's
not even gonna lie
waiting
you.
to ask you, do you want fries? Do you want the chips? Do you want the fries? Do you want vegetables? She don't care what you're pointing at. She probably can't even see it. So that's a huge pet peeve. I hate when people point their
But
menus.
I
If
think
you ever go to a
I find-
restaurant, man, you're gonna be like, "Yo, motherfucker, yo, why you doing that?"
But I think I find
You
I think
look
I
so
find people
late.
do.
Yeah, but you're not ordering like a foreign dish, Robert. You don't need to point
Yeah,
to
that's
the
what I was
fuck.
literally.
I know,
just
but
about
the
to
reason
say.
I
When
do
you're
this sounds
ordering-
stupid. It's just because like I'm a very picky eater, so I like to like I'm very cautious on what I eat because I don't like having any type of side that I don't like or some sauce that's on top of it. So,
So what is
in
the
my
point?
mind, I'm like, you see how it says this? Don't include this part, and sometimes I don't. I'm like,
I'll take
I
a
don't even know.
Yeah, but
cheeseburger,
you-
but I don't want cheese or a burger.
Yeah.
Are you one of those people?
I
I
know.
don't believe in bread.
Oh,
This-
trust me. Look,
Hey,
for a
if you want to
burger.
catch up, we were
Yeah,
talking.
you gotta give me an
God of War,
example now. I need an
we're
example of your
talking-
pick.
Now we're
Burger,
telling
this is my
pet
burger.
peeves.
This is my burger, right? This is
Feeds
my
in,
burger.
man.
Go ahead, go
I
ahead.
heard that.
Oh,
Well,
listen. What's
This
Robert's
is my
burger?
It is a patty,
Okay.
bacon, and barbecue sauce. That's it. Nothing else. No lettuce, no tomato, no cheese.
Why?
No,
No bun?
Just, well, and a bun, obviously. But like
So
that's all I get, and
Alright.
and I think it's a good burger. Now,
What?
I'm be honest.
Do you eat
that's-
cheeseburgers?
No, I don't like cheeseburger. I like
What the
pizza, but I
fuck?
don't
What
really
is
eat
this
cheese. Like, I
nonsense?
don't really eat cheese like
All
that.
right,
to
let's
be
get
honest
out. Let's get out of this
You ain't gotta
topic.
eat cheese.
You don't
I'm
eat
just saying, it's
cheese?
on a burger. The burger is still 90. You know what?
with
Whatever.
you. Yeah, it
All
doesn't
right.
taste good.
So
though.
T,
What do you mean, bruh?
we were talking
I'm
about.
so.
We were talking about. Well, I was about to spin the pet peeve conversation into a gaming pet peeves. So one of my pet peeves from my favorite franchise, The Legend of Zelda, is the Link falling off stuff, falling into lava, and then he just wakes up on the floor of the ledge you fell off. Like, I don't know what else they can do, but it's always bugged me. That's like a huge pet peeve in the Zelda franchise for me. It's like it's just
What do you want to happen? Do you want to like?
that's what I'm saying. I don't know what the solution is, but to me, it just immediately takes me out. Oh yeah, I'm playing a fucking game. You know, not like those games are like trying to suck you into cinematics or anything, but it just always felt weird to me. And I till this
Well,
I
do
day,
you
mean,
think
Mario,
they could
Mario
do
does it
something-
different, right? Mario is instant game over. You know?
what?
not anymore.
Well, if you have multiple
Yeah,
lives,
yeah, well, yeah, you're right. You
it
burn
just
your bum
feels.
a few
I
times
don't
and
know.
stuff, yeah.
If something about in that franchise, it just feels weird to me, and I don't know. I don't know why it is, but that's just like a pet peeve of mine. So I don't know if you guys can think of any or know of any.
I got-
off the top of
I
your
got
head.
one from Pokemon that bugs me, and it's not even a big deal, but it just pisses me off. For some reason, in almost every Pokemon game except for one, your dad ain't shit. I don't know what it is, but your dad is never in the picture, except for I think in Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, and it irks the fuck out of me because I'm like, bro, I understand your mom is here for you. That's great. But why is it that my dad is just gone in every fucking game? Like, can I get? I want a functional family. Damn it! Where's my
That is
nuclear
weird.
family at?
I
Damn,
are the
Pokemon's
game
some
designer,
bad
man.
shit.
Whoever those some of those story writers are like, man, my dad wasn't around. I'm letting nobody's dad around.
The next game should be Pokemon Mum and Pokemon Dad. You have to choose which
You
one.
have to choose.
But you can't. What? You can't find any copies of Pokemon Dad anywhere.
Yeah, they just don't print it. They only have like 3 copies available. It's really-
It's a fairly easy thing, I think, because I was gonna say the climbing through a crawl space thing,
Mhm.
which is obvious a loading, but that's not really that bad. It doesn't bother me that much. It's kind of
Yeah.
interesting sometimes,
Yeah, I know what you
but I
mean.
think mine is the how do I word it? The walking exposition
Yeah,
where
the
you like
Arkham.
can't do anything and
Yeah,
some character
Batman.
is telling you some stuff like in Batman,
Other
you know,
M.
like or other like just walking
Yeah.
and you can't really do anything but
Mhm.
walk.
And if
You're
you
like,
stop
you-
walking,
You're
you
getting this exposition dump, and that's
that is annoying.
a pet peeve.
That happens in Bayonetta
with the
3.
I was thinking with Terrell as well with the Pokemon Dad game. There's just no physical edition whatsoever. But
Yeah.
you know, with I think one pet peeve I just instantly always comes to mind is I always fucking hated RPGs where you've got multiple characters and those bastards don't level up in the background because you can only have like 3 or 4 people in your
That
group.
is.
Yes,
That's legit.
yes.
You got this whole adventure. Otherwise, you have to spend the time swapping over people, and you kind of want to keep your familiars, but dipping in other others. But then, especially old school ones, they always kept them the same level as well. Like they never leveled up. So you'd be like level 50, and those guys to be like level 30, so they're fucking
Yeah.
useless. So you're just
Mhm.
like, God, come on, man. Not as much anymore.
They did
now.
that in X. Xenoblade Chronicles X, I believe.
Did they?
Did they?
I think so.
Sure.
I'm not
I
100%.
can't
Now that might be true because you had to like go out of your way to add them to your party and shit, so they didn't auto level with you if you didn't have them added. For
Yeah,
a
but you
while.
could just go
Yeah.
battle some level 60s real quick and get them up. But yeah, it
yeah.
definitely-
You know what? I think you're right. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think you're right.
Trilink says unskippable cutscenes / segments.
You
Yeah,
should never skip
especially
cutscenes.
for
Oh.
especially if you're replaying the game.
You know what it is?
Yeah, it's annoying.
I'll be more specific with that one that he just used. Unskippable cutscenes right before a boss fight, and so instead of you just being able to skip the retry of the boss fight, you have to do the whole fucking
That's
cutscene.
trash.
That's the worst fucking
That's
thing,
so
dog.
annoying.
That happened recently. What game is it? It must be the
I just had
the
that.
Plague Tale games. It's not because it's not really boss fights, but it's like segments.
It's
I
like
just had
major
that.
segments.
Yeah, and then you go through and you have to go through that whole speaking,
Yeah, because like
segmentation
it's
again.
like
Come
it's that whole like you're about to get to another section of the game,
Right.
but here's the cutscene to transition you into the
Right.
section.
You gotta
So
keep
when you
going
die
through it.
in the next section, instead of just starting you at the beginning of the next section, well now I
Yeah.
gotta reintroduce the cutscene, and you're like,
Well, I mean, the
no.
boss battle, Juice, you probably know because you're the only one to played this other than me. At the final boss battle with the rats,
Mm-hmm.
like I died a few times trying to figure out what I was supposed to do in that, and you got to keep going through that whole talking thing
Yep.
every time.
Yeah, that's annoying as hell. And
Yeah.
just
I remember the last time that happened to me.
I just was playing. I swear I was just playing a game.
It's
Wasn't
been a minute.
I don't think it was near. I feel like I was playing a game not that long ago where that was happening, and I was just like, "Come on!" Like this is even. I mean, in Bayonetta 3, there's something where you have these. You hit this thing, and these 5 objects appear, and you have to get them within like 15 seconds.
Ah, yeah.
And every single time, if you fail, you hit it. You have to slowly watch them appear. And I'm like,
Oh yeah.
any
I know
other
what you're
game,
about.
you can skip that on the second time.
I've seen that.
And I'm like, come on, like that needs they need to patch that.
I can give you one from DMC4 that kind of pisses me off. It's when a boss has 3 sections, but when you die, let's say you die on the 3rd section, the game either restarts you from the cutscene right before the boss comes in, or at the beginning of the fight. And here's the kicker: with DMC4 specifically as my example, it does one of those things where it's trying to be cinematic with its final sequence, so it doesn't have anything on the screen. It's just like you have to know how to respond to an attack, and if you fuck it up, you have to reset it. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like DMC specifically, it requires you to counter like 3 punches and then punch a dude in his face, but the animations are so wild you can't tell that's what you're supposed to do. If I want to show it. That final boss in DMC4 pissed me off.
DMC reboot, not reboot. That
No,
one?
no, DMC, no, just DMC4. The reboot.
Yeah.
I haven't decided if I'm gonna play that piece of shit yet. That's a whole other issue.
I think I remember that in 4, but I haven't played
it's at the very end.
Well,
It's
I haven't played 1 for a while, and I can't remember. I remember dying quite a bit in 1, especially to the first boss, like the spider boss.
Fuck that boss, by the way. I hate that thing.
That was hard as fuck, but I think that starts you straight back there, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another pet peeve of mine is people who won't customize their character. They only play as the default. In Smash Brothers, they never change the outfit. Only plays the default characters.
Fuck those people, man.
It's so unnecessary, man.
Hate them.
So I thought of
There's nothing iconic about that shepherd whatsoever. Wait till you see my shepherd, man. That was a G. That's
What? You told me there's nothing iconic about Commander Shepard's default character? Come on, yo.
So another pet peeve is something Nintendo does a lot. You're playing a game, you're 20 hours in, and it's still telling you, like Odyssey did this. You're fighting the last boss. It still tells you an on-screen hint of how to throw Cappy and move him and shit, or something to that extent. But show me
So
that
like
the first time.
continuing tutorials.
It won't, and there's no option to disable. It still tells you with on-screen prompts what to do, even if you're at the end of the damn game. And Nintendo does it all the time in a freaking.
Didn't they patch that out of Breath of the Wild after one time? Because I think you kept every time you picked up an item.
That was Skyward
No.
Sword, I think.
No. Breath of the Wild only does it.
Skyward
Breath of the
Sword,
Wild,
and they said they updated it.
yeah. Breath of the Wild automatically does that, where after you pick up an item the first time, it doesn't do it again. After
Yeah, you
it
can
takes
pick
out.
them up.
Okay.
Yeah, real fast.
I just remembered one of my actually the biggest pet peeve out of everything, and there's just no doubt about it. I hate it when people don't rescue a major character in a game, especially when that character's on the title screen.
Yeah.
It's just I just don't get it how you could just skip something like that.
People playing a game with there's a bunch of horses in, and then
actually like a horse or something like
oh
a
my
creature,
lord,
really?
like a lovable creature.
What about the games where
I don't know if I feel that way. I don't know.
Here's a pet where a game's coming out, like a third game in the series, and all these certain people are claiming how excited they are, and then later on they say, "Yeah, I still got to go back and play the first and second game."
Oh, the fake fan.
I'll say my biggest pet peeve, and I think everyone knows it. It's my pet peeve, but I just hate it. Obviously, when it's a boss or a final boss, and they bring more enemies into the battle, that shit always drives me insane. It feels like a regular ass fight when that happens. It's so stupid. It's cheap and it's annoying.
I'm not. It doesn't bother me at all.
That shit is so stupid to me. It's just like I feel like
I understand your logic of it.
I hate when I want to have an epic boss fight, and then they're like, "Oh, and here's all these other enemies you versed before."
Especially when they're hitting you from behind and you can't see them.
I love when you bring this up. You know why? Because Xenoblade Chronicles ends that way. That's the final boss in Xenoblade Chronicles, where you get fucking.
Wait, which one?
The original. The original Xenoblade.
Yeah. You to be fair, even 2 had that.
Yeah, 2 does do that.
2 does that too.
3 does.
And I was like, oh man, really? Or like I remember,
it's kind of less lame.
it's like
it's super lame.
It's like, also with the fucking Torna, you're like, oh yeah, Malos baby, and then all of a sudden, here's 2 Transformer motherfuckers. Like, all right, bro, come on, I'm trying Malos, motherfucking Malos.
Yeah, why does he need
Malos ain't enough, man? He's just.
Luckily they do more stuff with it, which is pretty cool. But it's like just the whole. When I first saw it, I was just like, dude, really? You're supposed to be like this almighty Aegis super god like thing. Oh, but I got robots behind me, bitch. Oh my god, fuck off. You got robots behind you. I don't even know fucking robots. It's like
another pet peeve in that same franchise is when you taking on a boss or something in the world, and then all of a sudden, all these other regular enemies just are walking by and they join the fight, and it's just are you fucking kidding me?
Relax.
I'm about to beat this thing. I've been fighting them for 10 minutes, and now because these random dudes jumped in, now I'm dying.
You probably die.
That happens to me. That happened to me Saturday with Unique Monsters. I'm sitting there trying to fight this unique monster. All of a sudden, I got these 2 fucking giant ass birds who want to fly up behind me and go, "Oh, you want to fight, bro?" No, I wasn't even looking at you. What the fuck?
I would say I love that about
I don't hate it, but
things, but like you can almost like see them coming, and you're like, please don't come close, please don't
come
close.
Like,
please don't come close. And you start moving back, trying to drag the creature away and stuff.
Yeah.
Or like the motherfucker won't come near you.
I also would say shit. Nope, I forgot.
I'll give you one that's
not just me that does that.
No. I'll give you one that refers that Nintendo games. It depends on the franchise, but certain Nintendo games does a lot. That bullshit where you're in the middle of the game and it's like, you've been playing for a while. It's okay to take a break.
Yeah, that was just Wii.
And I'm just like, I was just like,
yeah,
bitch. Like, how old do you think I am? Leave me the fuck alone.
That was rife on a 3DS because they all knew you go blind if you play.
Yeah, they're like, bro, by the way, you might die.
What game did that the most?
You cannot play more of our games if you're blind, right? Take a break.
A game that I played a lot of.
You know what's also pet peeve for mine? You know what's pet peeve, and it's really quick, right? But it's so like it's kind of icky. I would say, ugh, right? When you first start up a game, and this happens a lot with like EA stuff
It's
or
sign
like
in.
Activision stuff, and like
User
here's
agreement.
a giant privacy
Yeah.
policy, or here's a giant terms and conditions. Now play the game, and it's just like I know it's a quick second thing, but sometimes you have to scroll the entire thing, and it keeps going.
Yeah.
Oh, what one?
And you're like,
Ubisoft does
why
that too.
do you really need that for your game? There's so many other companies that don't do that, so I really doubt you have to, unless you're doing some crazy shit with our data that we don't know about. That you're like,
Yeah.
oh, by the way, when you finish the game, yeah, we are going to clone you. So just a heads up. It's like, okay, I mean,
See,
Well,
back,
there's-
back in the good old days, it'd just be in the manual. You go, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, there's a game I booted up this year, and I'm trying to think. Maybe it was one I got off PlayStation Plus, and maybe it was Tony Hawk. I literally
Probably.
spent 5
Probably.
minutes
Activision stuff.
using the right analog to scroll down, accept,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I had to do it 3 different times. And I was
Mhm.
like, "Are you fucking kidding?" I almost,
You're like,
I almost
"Wait,
booted
why?
out. I
What the
almost
hell?"
closed the game and didn't play it.
I will say they add on to
That's
that
crazy.
that fucking Ubisoft Connect and EA bullshit they always add in.
Oh,
where
that's
it's
that's
like,
Retrodet's biggest pet peeve
Mhm.
for sure. He will
It-
literally
it-
not play a game because of it.
well, I won't go that far, but it does piss me off when they like. Because think about it, you get the agreement, you scroll down the agreement. All right, we're done with the agreement. Hey, do you want to connect to Ubisoft Connect? And you're like,
Yeah.
no.
I'm glad
you
it.
have
Let me
to.
tell
already
you.
got, you
You
already
have
got
to.
yourself to blame. You're playing all the wrong games by all the wrong companies. All right.
But
What you mean, man? I
Compton,
got Conduit 2 on Wii. What you
Compton, I
talking-
want to have these kind of experiences. Okay, I have to. And guess what? Ubisoft Connect is on the fucking beginning of this game too.
I
Like,
can
yeah.
tell you a true
I
story.
hate it.
Ubisoft Connect saved me 90 hours of, saved me from losing 90 hours of Immortals. One
Oh, I
day I
believe it.
booted up Immortals, and I don't know if I boot up the DLC, went back to the main game, and my only option was new game, not new game plus, not just new game only. I'm like, this gotta be wrong. Backed out, got back in. All I had was new game, time in the game, 0000. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Luckily, Ubisoft Connect auto cloud saved my most recent save. I might have lost like 20 minutes or something. It was nothing. And I was like,
That's
thank
Would you
God.
have gone back and played that game from scratch?
Not at that
no
point.
way. 90 hours.
That was
that's
already
too
in
long.
my
Yeah.
second. That was in my second playthrough already.
Oh, all right. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
all
you're
right.
too far in.
Still, oh, okay. Here's one that's kind of like that where it's technically my fault, but it's just like sounds similar. So, Ghost Runner, I love that game, right? Then I think you can have multiple save files or whatever, and I clicked like new game, and then and it just it did have some type of warning, but it wasn't.
You ignored it.
No. I read it. I think it had a warning. It must have, but it didn't say like exactly like by the like verbatim like
I mean, you speed
this
through
shit
games,
is
I'm just
going
saying.
to be wiped, bro. You are not seeing your save file anymore. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if I forget why I wanted to do, but I did something, and then just the whole thing was wiped. I'm like, oh wait, I already beat the game, but I was like, there's like so many things that like I could have done back then. Like I just wanted to kind of redo and shit. I'm like, oh no, the whole game. Oh no, I can't go back. Oh shit. I'm like, I guess it's gone, man. I finished the game. What are you gonna do? But,
But
damn,
just
I'll
that-
come
just
back to
that
this one day.
instant-
The
just
sound
that
effect
instant
makes me
autosave.
crack
It was
up.
like well, there was no like autosave to go back. Like it was just that's it. It's like I just reinstalled the game with with fresh files. I'm like, oh, what? I don't know. I feel like a lot of people can mess that up real easy, and I'm like, ooh, no. Oh, well, at least
it
I beat
doesn't
the
matter.
game.
It was only Ghost Runner anyway. Don't worry about it.
It's a great game, fantastic game. It's top 10 of 2020.
That's so
Top 10 of-
disrespectful,
Top
dog.
10 of 2020, man. I had my student. I presented that. I presented the award. Don't you remember? It was there.
Oh my
Oh, yeah.
god.
I do remember that.
It's
But,
terrible, dog.
Yeah, I think just I mean it's not always a pet peeve, but for example, I haven't started a brand new playthrough of Breath of the Wild. I've done it on normal mode and I've done it on master mode. But I haven't started a brand new playthrough because you just instantly save over that one save file.
Yeah.
And and most games now these days do have multiple save slots and
Yeah.
what have you. So it's not too much of an issue. But I still found it quite shocking that there's still only one save file for.
I think Nintendo games probably do it the most still, where they only have one save file.
Yeah, it's like tied to the profile or whatever.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
gonna
say
just to
real
bring,
quick.
just to casually bring up Pokemon again. We've
I'm on
been
candy
we've been
duty,
begging for that for years.
Oh,
You're on candy
okay.
duty.
So I'm gonna be jumping up and down every few minutes or so.
What kind of
Want some
candy you giving you?
candy?
What's the candy you giving? Yeah, I'll watch some, yo. Hand it over you. Come
I
on.
mean, that's a whole. Yeah, you gotta cross some states for that, man.
We'll meet halfway. I'll take one
About
piece.
4 hours, man.
I don't know if it's worth the drive, man.
don't think-
One piece of candy, man. It might be worth it.
Wow.
At
You
least
don't
he's
even
honest
like
about it.
cheese. I don't trust you.
Yeah, what kind of shit is that? That's such a weird thing,
Yeah,
dog.
pizza, mozzarella sticks. I love. But
But
like,
you don't like on your burgers?
no, man. I don't
Come
like it on my
on, what?
sandwich. I don't like it by itself. I don't
By
like
itself,
cheese
that's
sticks.
fine.
Ugh, I just
Those
don't
are
like a lot
fine,
of
but
that shit.
I don't understand on the burger, dog. That fucks
Burger,
me up.
no. I mean, what? That's honestly, it's probably a big reason why I don't really eat burgers because I like it ends up being like, they're fine. But it's probably because I don't.
American don't like burgers, bro.
You're an
I'd
American.
rather have a. I'd rather like if we're going like a barbecue, right? And it's either you're having a hamburger or a hot dog. I'd rather take a grilled hot dog. To be honest with you, a grilled hot dog is really good. I think.
Yeah, I like
I'm
grilled
not-
hot dogs.
No disrespect to the grill hot dogs. I just feel like it's disrespectful.
But if you had to
the
pick
burger.
one,
Oh, burgers, absolutely. The fuck,
okay, all right,
fuck
all
wrong
right.
with you?
Burgers almost always taste good. You know, as long as they're
Exactly.
cooked good. I could eat burgers probably once a week if I had to.
Absolutely, that's a
So-
whole lifestyle. Shit.
Oh, grilled. What about grilled burgers or grilled shrimp? Grilled shrimp, man. I'm taking grilled shrimp.
I don't like
Grilled
well,
shrimp's
ironically,
not
I
a guaranteed.
I also don't like
All
shrimp
right.
anyway. For me, so it doesn't matter.
Grill-
Terrell's living
grilled-
it up now, anyway, man.
grilled
In a
burger
single
or-
life
or
by
shish
himself, you
kebab?
know,
What
chicken
about shish
fillet and
kebab?
shit, man.
Everything just if it's cooked right, but shish kebab I'd rather just have steak.
I didn't mean to derail the conversation.
Yeah. Anyway, I forgot to say this last week.
Everybody just walking by my house. I'm looking at the camera.
I saw a
More candy
video
for
today.
me,
Some
mama.
dude got shot. Somebody with I don't know if he had salt in the shotgun.
What
Some
the
dude was
hell?
trying to steal a package off his porch, and he shot him in the side with must have been salt. You know, like the what do they call the salt rounds? Because obviously he wasn't bleeding or nothing.
You should have been.
And the dude shit himself, and it looked legit. It did not look like a skit, even though it sounded like one. It looked real.
Wow.
But
that dude must have been a seasoned veteran. It's like-
So,
my bad.
I gotta stretch my legs a bit, so I'm gonna leave my camera off like I did last week.
That is actually pretty funny.
Shit cracked me up. The fucking they shit somebody so hard, he just shits
He's a
himself.
seasoned veteran.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sorry, T man. I'm sorry. Forgive me.
Good stuff.
That's such a good one, though. It's so good. Seasoned veteran.
So I'm guessing.
Oh.
I'm guessing. T, did you start Bayonetta 3? I saw you got it at midnight.
I haven't started it.
Okay, so-
bro.
We can't really go too much into that, but I do want to.
I mean, if y'all want to go into it, I'll fucking mute.
And then
real
Terrell,
quick.
I'm not going to talk about anything
Yeah,
story
you can
wise.
talk. You can go into it. It's
Terrell, you
Bayonetta,
want to
man.
share your story, what you're going through right now with your collector's edition?
Oh, so I fucking pre-ordered that lovely edition that Clocked has in the background. I pre-ordered that lovely fucking edition back in July.
And then you
and-
pre-ordered it because you were protesting.
No. But so I pre-ordered it back in like July, and it comes around to the day of release. No, it was Friday morning at like 12. I get this email from Best Buy saying, "Well, your item's not really in yet, but we're working on it. You're supposed to have it today." So that's at 12 o'clock in the morning. It hits around. I go to work and all that other fun shit, and it hits around like 3 or 4 o'clock when I'm getting off, and I'm like, I haven't seen this thing update today. This might be an issue. So I call Best Buy. I'm like, you still say I get my order today, but it hasn't updated. Y'all say, oh well, we're still waiting on the truck to get here with the stuff on. I'm like, does it usually come this late? Because I figured trucks would usually come like in the morning or at the end of the day or whatever. And so you know what my dumb ass is? I was so amped. I went to Best Buy like an hour before it closed because I hadn't gotten updates, and I was like, I'm hoping to God that my shit updates while I'm in Best Buy. Did not.
Mm-hmm.
Went up to the front. No, they don't even have copies of the game. By the way, I've
Wow.
learned that Best Buy just doesn't have copies of games the day of, and apparently they're trying to promote more pre-orders, so they're not having like release date copies. I know, you know what? Because I noticed it for Mario Rabbids too. Mario Rabbids wasn't in Best Buy day one. I had to
I
wait
think
like
Walmart's the same because I haven't seen.
yeah,
Most
like
of them I've seen.
I only just now saw copies of Persona 5 Royal on fucking on the shelf last week. I guess they're just waiting or whatever the fuck. But anyways,
Yeah.
so I wait until until closing, and they close early. I don't know why they're still closing early. I know I guess COVID. I don't fucking know. And so now the game's like, oh, it's just delayed. And then I got that updated one that I posted on Twitter talking about, well, if we don't get any updates by November 6th, we're just gonna refund you your money. And
Under 6.
I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, did y'all just not get copies in? Like, I don't understand. And I should have went today, but then Juice was like, we're gonna have our podcast at 5 o'clock. So I couldn't go check. But I was gonna go check to see if they just had the standard game in. Because it don't make no sense. The collector's edition, for some reason, they want to promote pre-order culture, but I literally cannot. I pre-ordered the game like what 4 months in advance, and now I'm just sitting here assed out.
They
Probably
had a bot. I'm guessing the shipment either got lost or stolen, damaged or something.
It
kind of bad.
wouldn't surprise me, but it still pisses me off.
I know it's stupid, but are they now sold out on like Nintendo of America and stuff?
Oh no, yeah, it's sold out. It's sold out on Nintendo site.
Yeah, that's what I
it's sold out
said.
on
Because if
Target.
it's that edition, you're probably not going to get it unless
It's
they
sold
make
out on
more.
fucking Walmart. It's sold out everywhere. I actually looked a couple days ago. I looked like Saturday, and I'm like, fuck, this is nowhere. Because I was gonna just try to grab it from another place and get it that way, and wasn't happening. Didn't happen.
Cray said his was delayed too. Maybe Nintendo didn't meet. Maybe something got delayed in the shipments going out to retailers.
That's why I still left the pre-order open. Like right now, since they're gonna cancel it on November 6th anyway, and I can't find another copy of it, I'll give it a couple more days. If it doesn't happen, then because I still have things to play. I mean, for God's sake, someone just gifted me Resident Evil Village, so I got other things I can be playing right now.
You got Mario Rabbids.
No,
you
man,
just, you just
I'll
held it
hide
up.
mine.
Yeah. I'm in the middle.
Here, never to see.
I will say,
what you doing? What you doing?
I'm just relaxing, man.
Your arm is hovering. Your arm is hovering.
I love that. I actually love that. Viola's concept art's actually really cool. I like her concept art, and I don't.
You can't go back on her now. You can't go back.
In the game,
You still hate her. You still hate her design though.
no, there's some angles where I'm like, yeah, she looks alright. I just hate the blue lipstick. Really, kind of ruins it for me. But there's some angles like when she celebrates. I haven't got to play as her yet, but watching the gameplay where she does like blows a kiss at the camera, she looks just terrible. But there's moments in the game like, oh, her character model looks
I
looks alright.
I haven't started
Her
playing.
voice actor's dressed up as her, I think, recently.
Yeah, I like
did
that
a
girl.
live stream.
I didn't know who she was, but
Yeah.
her voice
Her
acting.
voice actress.
If I had to
Oh,
grade,
Brizzy? It was
if
so
I had to
pumped
grade
see
her voice acting talent, I would put it pretty low. But I liked her voice, and it works within the game.
Not quite Helena Taylor.
She's not gonna. And I will say there's hardly any dialogue. I'm up to chapter 4, and there's hardly any Bayonetta dialogue at all. So there couldn't have been that much work involved for that 15 grand. I do miss. I went back and played a little too earlier.
Yeah, maybe they changed things because she got. I don't know. I don't know how much they changed.
There's not that much dialogue. Viola has like as much especially in the opening. But I like her voice and stuff, and it works within the game. But if this was like a serious game, like she's just a streamer. She's not an actor. Like her acting, I'm saying as Viola is not in my mind. That's not acting. That's just reading lines and adding inflection to your voice. It's to me there's a huge
I don't
difference.
understand because people are comparing voice acting to their jobs.
Yeah.
So
I would say
if I worked that many hours, I would love to. Well, it's a little different.
but in the case of something like a almost first time voice actor just comes in, doesn't have, I would say Helena Taylor, as much as I don't like her narcissism and stuff or arrogance or whatever, she definitely had training versus someone like, what's her name? Brizzy or whatever she goes by. Brizzy voices.
Brizzy.
You could tell she doesn't have training. She probably did drama in high school or something, like that's what it sounds like.
And we've forgotten at this point, but there was a time where they didn't, voice actors in video games were just like the programmers and whoever. And do we want that? I don't think we want to go back to that.
No, but I'm saying that from my personal opinion of hearing Viola, she shouldn't be making $1,000 a day for that. To me, like that.
Was that,
That,
is
that, that was
that what
like
she made?
that's pretty much every rare game, on the N64.
Yeah.
Just those
But
guys
yeah, we
fucking
don't.
around.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want like no. She's above like I couldn't act, but I would say Robert's a better actor, no doubt.
Thank you. Appreciate
You know,
Wow.
what is he a better voice actor? Probably. I mean, that's a whole different skill and.
Have you seen Robert's got range?
But anyway,
man? Yes, you got Niffler.
Yeah.
You got what's
You
the
got
alien
Finn,
dude?
Yeah, Kylo. You
yeah,
got
that's
the
right,
10,
Finn
the
Kylo,
10, the
exactly.
10 different
Robert's
things.
got range.
The 10
Yeah, you got
things
T.
from
T.
the
You got T doing-
GWM awards.
well, Robert
Oh
puts
my
his on
God.
display.
Squeaks the cat, and Lil T.
I said Robert's
Wait,
Robert's fresh in his mind because he still does it all the time. I can't.
I don't do it. I don't do it as much anymore.
Hey man,
But,
I'm waiting for an album to come out.
coming
from
back
T. That's
though.
what I'm waiting.
Just wait.
Anyway,
Wow.
I'm gonna give my take on Bayonetta 3. I'm 8 or 9 hours in. I put it between Bayonetta 1 and 2 at this point, as far as me liking the game is. I have quite a few complaints with 3. Overall, it's a good game, but it lacks a lot of polish. It's not just performance isn't even a factor. I haven't noticed any issues, except for a couple sluggish sections where it's obviously drops to 30. But there's one big kaiju fight that's like it's a weird like one-off
What do you
deal.
mean by polish?
Like you control this giant spider after a cinematic, and you have to basically the city's falling apart, and you have to walk along these pieces of building. You have to jump, and it's just like there's a point where there's a 90-degree, and you have to like scale up this side of the building and then get to the top, and sometimes it just doesn't turn the right way where I'm pressing up to the right, and then the thing starts going up to the left a little bit. There's spots where you're
I'm
under
not trying to. I'm not.
yeah, it's just it doesn't feel
No.
like that
I
felt
think
like
it's
a
one of
real,
those situations where it kind of like Terrell would know this, well T would know this as well, but like when you're playing Sonic Adventure and Sonic will like do a loop to loop in the full 3D like that, and then like go along a wall and stuff, but then sometimes unless you reshift that analog stick, he's going to keep going in that direction. Mario Galaxy does it a bit.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
In that type of respect. So, except that with Bayonetta 3, obviously the stakes are much faster and much higher and much more urgent. So you're constantly just holding forward, trying to swing and stuff like that. So there is an element of needing to adjust very quickly. You're almost reset. In terms of the control.
So does it?
well, and then the other part is
because, I saw a headline to a video that said that it had a problem with the polishing.
yeah, because there's that same spider sequence you get in like a parking garage and it's collapsing, and I'm like holding up and nothing's happening. Then you can't turn the camera because it's just in this enclosed place. The camera doesn't know what to do. And I start going left, and then I get into this cloud area, and it reset me. And I'm like, what the fuck? I have no idea where to go. And then I press up, and I let go, and then I press up, and then it climbed up this little ledge.
Oh, I know exactly what that is. That's if you like when you're just using the Sonic example again. You go around the loop and you go through the thing, but if you don't let go of the analog stick, it'll essentially lock up, and so you have to let go and then re-hit it again.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about before. But in Juice's moment, I know the exact moment that he's talking about. I think one fundamental thing that I forgot whilst playing those segments, or when you are playing these segments, is that you do actually have full control of the camera to hold left and right to go spin right round in full 360, except that when you're in that moment, it feels so cinematic, almost like you're not meant to be turning the camera, almost like you feel like the camera should automatically turn whichever way you're facing in order to go.
There's a couple times I'm like, why isn't the camera following? It's like why do I have to turn the camera here?
Yeah, exactly. And I think I don't know if that's a detriment. Obviously, it's proven detrimental to you in certain moments. But I just think maybe it's just one of those moments in gaming where we're just so used to like these types of cutscenes being so streamlined in terms of everything just moving forwards and you not really having to do much apart from move the character. that it just feels odd that you do actually have full control of the camera here while all this stuff is happening. That feels like a cutscene.
And you can move about. Feels like you're moving.
Does that make sense? Sorry.
Yeah.
So it's essentially.
But that's not my
you can't
complaint.
tell.
That's not.
You can't.
That's
you can't tell whether or
not
not
really
it's
relates
bad
to what I'm
because
saying.
you're saying it's not. It's either it's not. You can't tell whether or not it's bad because of how it's designed, or bad because it's just different than what you're used to doing.
No, it's sluggish. It's unresponsive. You have, if you stay too long, the ground, this cloud stuff comes in, and you have to reset the section you're on.
Yeah.
You have like to make these jumps, and sometimes not clear where you have to go. And it's basically they have this in-game engine for Bayonetta, and they try to apply it to this giant spider going through, these huge cityscape, and it's almost like playing Smash Brothers Melee, and you're playing the adventure mode, and it's like, well, the mechanics work great for fighting, but not so great for platforming. It's one of those situations where it just feels.
I can't agree with that. But
with which part in Bayonetta or in Smash?
Well, just in terms of the way you're saying the controls, in terms of the difference between Bayonetta and the spider controls and stuff. Now, I understand the the swinging of the spider and then trying to work out where you're going as potentially being an issue. Not so much swinging, because I actually think the swinging works really well, but just where you're meant to be going, because you've got so much cloud and stuff, you can't tell sometimes, should I be landing on that building or that building? And then you actually realize they are two different paths, but with the urgency of the section, it feels like...
And I'm not,
okay,
and you're not able to
even
swing. I'm not talking about the swing. This is the big spider you can't swing with. It's the giant running through the collapsing city, chasing the big Avengers-like flying thing.
Yeah, and I remember that scene as well, and you have to go on the walls and stuff.
Yeah, there's no swing in there. I mean, you have the quick time swinging, but you can't actually swing in that moment. That's that other form.
But we're talking about one 30-second moment in the game here, and I feel like
I played it 3 times. It's about a 2-3 minute section.
Okay, 2-3 minutes of a 60-hour game. Then I'm just saying it's one scene. That is,
and there's multiple occasions where you're controlling something big. I'm saying it just doesn't feel. It feels tacked on. It doesn't control well.
It doesn't feel tacked on to me at all.
It doesn't control well, and honestly, I keep playing it because I'm trying to get the challenge of making it through that section without falling or getting sucked up by the clouds, and I just can't do it. So I've done it probably 5 times, I'd say, total, and it's just a part that just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like they put much time into it.
So it's like the
it's not
difference,
polished.
Like, the reason why I'm trying to fight back against the unbalanced not refined nature of it. It's still a video game. Whereas like you struggled with it, I got through it the first time. I remember did get stuck, and I was like, oh shit, what's going on? Where do I go? Shit, what am I doing? Because everything's blowing up and falling all around you. You're starting that panic moment, but I still got through. So I got through it the first time. You had to do it 3 times.
No, I got through it every time. I'm just saying the clunkiness of it. It's not fun to play. I got through it every time. I played through it
I was loving
multiple times, trying to get the challenges. That's why I played it multiple times.
Right. Okay.
Because
and that's what I feel like sometimes these challenges in games can make you repeat sections that you might not necessarily write just to get an invisible achievement for whatever. I made a massive mistake when I first played Deus Ex Human Revolution on the Xbox 360. In my head, I was like, right, I'm gonna stealth. There's an achievement in the game. Do not be seen once during the whole game. And I tried to play the game stealth in the entire game.
Like so much fun.
Fucking impossible. I would have loaded that game as well back then. The amount of times you got caught, I restarted it. And do you know what happened is I finally got through it all, and I must have missed one where I actually did restart it properly, so I didn't get the achievement after wasted all that time trying to do it. When I played it on the Wii U, I said, forget all achievements, forget all this stuff. Let me play through it the first time, see how I go. Whatever happens, I'm just gonna go with the flow. And I loved the game. That's what I'm doing with Bayonetta. We were talking the other day about trying. I don't care if I get pure platinums the first time, or golds, or silvers, and stuff like that. I'm gonna play through it. Then I will go back and try to get those things that I've now experienced that I should be better at. Not trying to stay in that moment to repeat until I can move on. So I made the same mistake with Yoshi's crafted world. Yoshi's crafted world and stuff like that. If you're trying to get all the stuff and you've repeated that level, my God, just hang yourself. It's so it does get repetitive and boring, and you get fed up with it, especially if you're not loving it in certain parts. Just get past it. Leave it alone.
I was doing that
Get
with
past
Kirby.
it.
I was like, I got 100% before I move on, and that's not it's not fun.
That's actually nothing to do with my gripes either, because I've replayed chapters and I actually enjoyed them even more the second time. So that's not really what's bringing me down. That was the first example I could think of like some of the lack of polish. Just that felt clunky to me. Wasn't fun to play that particular segment. I would say I don't know what this is.
What do you like about the game, Juice?
What I like is Bayonetta's character design is the best in the series. I like being able
makeup.
I'll be able to customize her
that
look.
makes more sense.
I like the combat part of it. I'm not a huge fan of the big set piece stuff with the one-off stuff, which is Bayonetta always has some weird one-offs here and there. I don't know. It didn't grip me. It feels more like 1 to me than 2, whereas like 1 was, I liked it, but I wasn't like, oh my God, it's been 3 hours. Like, it's like after an hour, I'm like, yeah, do I want to keep playing or do I want to switch to a different game? So, yeah, my list of things I like are just things that I've liked about the other games. You know, just really fun, fast, ridiculous enemy designs, over the top action. Great one-liners, you know, Bayonetta's character in general, just all that stuff. But
there's a lot of obviously you got all the extra challenge modes in this one, as you know, still as well, trying to find those, and it's got the new time mechanic stuff, which have those in-level, you know, time moments that you have to try and work out and and get to and stuff. I think overall it's still, you know, fundamentally a Bayonetta game. It plays exceptionally well. I think once you get, I remember you not like loving, you know, Astral Chain, and I think this is almost like an evolution of that battle system, but sometimes then on a bigger scale, you know. So I can understand, you know, gripes maybe about cameras and stuff when you got, you know, the big when you pull out Madame Butterfly. And if she's too close to you, then they make her transparent and stuff.
Yeah, that's
you know,
another thing.
Yeah, you know, but these, you know, a part of the combat is setting yourself up, you know, effectively. I noticed that for yourself as well, there's the time pressure of wanting to get pure platinum, so you got to do it in a certain time and stuff. But like I said, sometimes it's best to get your mind out of that, especially when you play a game for the first time and a new battle system for the first time. And just set yourself up, and the game wants you to set yourself up. You're not meant to be having the giant summons out all the time. They're meant to be quick combos to set up a daze for you to get back in there, hand and feet and guns, and deal the real damage and the real combos and build that stuff up. So I don't think, like I said, the only thing I'm disagreeing against is just it feeling clunky. I can understand it maybe, like you said, with some of the moments in those high speed things that it's doing that you just never done in video games before. You know, fundamentally, apart from the Bayonetta series.
Well, the only thing that's clunky is just that controlling that giant spider. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I know, but I just felt like we lingered on that so long. It made Bayonetta 3 sound like,
yeah.
You know, like, like
to me, that's like that segment.
That's why I go back to 30 seconds, and you said, well, it's actually 2 or 3 minutes. I'm like, okay, fine, it's still minutes, but
to me, that feels, it's not as bad as the quick time events in the first game, but like the game, in my opinion, the game would be better without that. Like, you just remove that, and the game becomes better for it. That's how I feel.
Where's it ranking so far in the Bayonetta trilogy?
It's close to 1. It's far below 2 at this point. It's probably like an 8 out of 10 for me right now. But
Here's my soul.
A great score though.
the other thing is, I don't
That's a
need to
user
get
review right
I don't
there.
need to get pure platinum. Like, I don't need to get pure platinum. I've had silvers and stuff. But, and I know that going back when I have all my abilities, this is more of a nitpick than an actual complaint of, actual flaw of the game, I think. But I'm trying to remember, I feel like in 1 and 2, when you got the witch heart, didn't it automatically apply? Didn't you automatically health grow? I'm like, why is my health not getting any bigger? You actually have to go into the skill tree.
You got a skill tree and stuff now.
And then I had to find the spot to do the moon pearls and the witch heart. So that was just like, now I know, but it's also kind of annoying to do it because it's like, just apply it. Like, who's not going to apply it? I guess there's people maybe that don't want their health to grow. I guess maybe there's some super competitive people that want to keep their health at the lowest. I could see that being the reason, but give me the option. Give me the option, because it's just a little bit. It's just a small little inconvenience that I have to go in there and do that.
That's kind of like the same. If we're gonna have, I feel like I'm battling against you here, man. I apologize. If we have niggles like that, we have to look at it fundamentally with other games, like the Legend of Zelda series. It's just like, if you don't want to, who's not going to level up their health? Who's not going to pick up that heart piece, that half heart piece? Stuff like that. People don't, or you get the option to not find it, or decide where you want to apply it.
Yeah, but if you pick it up and you get 4, and it just added it to you. You don't have to go to a menu to add the heart after you have 4 pieces. Like, it just feels like an unnecessary step. But
but that's what I mean. It's like you can see that as an unnecessary step in the Legend of Zelda. When you defeat a boss, just give me the extra heart piece instead of it going. Just give it to me.
I don't think those are even closely related, because that gives you something to go walk up and touch. Like, I don't have to go 3-4 menus in. And then you have to hold the A button, because if you just tap it, it don't count. You have to hold it down, and then it adds the.
Oh, you have to do it in Breath of the Wild. You got to go get a bloody goddess statue and apply it to where you want to apply it and stuff. It's just the option, isn't it?
Yeah.
People choose to do it. People don't choose
to
do it.
But again, that because you had the choice to do stamina or heart. If it was just hearts, I don't think you would have had to go and do it. It's like, how do you want to build your up your stamina or your hearts first? This, you have.
Yeah, but you don't have to. You still have to go. It's just, you're saying it's just that extra step to go into the menu and apply the extra health now that you've got the chance to add extra health. Or with Breath of the Wild, you decide whether you want to add extra health or extra stamina. Bayonetta, you add extra health, or you find that stuff, you add the extra magic. It's still just giving you the momentary option to choose if you want to apply it.
Like I said, I think it's probably for the diehards that don't want their health to grow, so they can beat the game at the stock health. I'm guessing that's the reason, because otherwise it makes no sense in any other capacity. But just one of those things, I didn't realize it right away. I'm like, I was probably 2 hours in the game before I realized I had like 4 witch hearts and 2 moon pearls. I'm like, oh, I have to manually apply those.
Keeping the tutorials in your face. That's what
you're doing. But yeah, it's a little disappointing for me, because it is coming off one of my favorite games of all time. Maybe it was never going to live up to it.
I done a video just on that, man.
But I definitely going to keep playing. I mean, no, I don't regret buying the game or anything. Like I said, 8 out of 10 ain't bad. It's just, it's not 9.9 or whatever. I gave Bayonetta 2 at this point. And Bayonetta 2, from the prologue, every chapter, I was just like, oh my God, I got to keep playing. Like, this game is just amazing. And this one's almost like I said, after about an hour, I'm like, yeah, do I want to play the next chapter, or do I want to just watch a movie or watch YouTube? So that's kind of a bummer, but we'll see how it all ends up. That's my take.
Okay.
Cool.
My take is, I fucking love it. There you go. And then
you like it? Okay, fine, Clark. If you had the rank between the other 2 games, where does it lie currently for you? Is it?
Well, I think already the whole opening has eclipsed Bayonetta 2's opening, which I didn't think would be possible. Because the opening to Bayonetta 2, I even done an individual video on that. I think it's one of the best openings to any game, ever. She ends up kicking airplanes into the sky, jumps on the airplane, flying through the city.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're on being on the top of a train, and trying to just smash the chains, and then fights a giant Gamora thing, and then against the building, all that stuff. It's just crazy. But this in terms of scale and stuff, I think they really have taken this game to the next level. There's never been any moment where that hasn't felt like a spectacle at the moment, apart from I've just got to this one area. You just get it's almost like a Japanese, Chinese type of like an Oriental type of open area. There's not really much going on
with
there.
like the battle. Is it the one
what's
with
that,
the
sorry?
battle going on?
No, it's one where you rewind. There's a chance there to actually rewind a bridge halfway and to do like a time trial
I
place,
did,
and then
yeah. I did that.
that's just a general open area with not too much going on. But aside from that, it's been absolutely batshit crazy. I put on Twitter. I was just like, I'd be smiling from just ear to ear, because I'm just like this. I posted on Twitter. I said, where would we be without Japanese gaming? And I said we'd be bored shitless, because there's just so much craziness going on in this game that I'm just like I felt like I was coming home to just video games. It's really weird. I was just like, I felt almost nostalgic for Bayonetta. For I don't know why, because I got the games, and but maybe it's just been out a while. But I think the character's great. I think I think the combat's amazing. It's not perfect, but it's still incredibly fun, and there's tons of combos and details. I've learned loads of new moves which I'm trying to practice and get better at, and getting better at the instant summons, and then unsummoning them whilst I start getting the juggles on, and then just moving through cutscene after cutscene, action scene after action scene. I can't get enough. I have not been able to play enough, because I've just been I'm unable to today to play Bayonetta 3, and I'm twitching. But tomorrow night I'm going to be all over it again.
Yeah, I think,
I definitely don't feel fatigue in any way.
I think I'm a little bit further than you. Plus, I got the 3. I found the cat, the raven,
Nice,
and the toad in 2.
Yeah, I'd be fighting those things.
Because they open up a little
some of those
bonus
chase
stage.
are pretty cool. I like chasing those.
I opened up 2 of those, so those are just a couple of bonus stages.
Yeah.
Did Jean's little side-scrolling things. Interesting. I don't know.
Why PSPs?
What the fuck's
Yeah.
happening?
And they're pink. They
Why'd
look
you go
pink
3?
anyway.
Very easy.
I got white out of that.
White,
Yeah, I saw
silver,
what
and-
you.
Oh.
White, silver, and white.
Okay, that's what I thought. It looked white to me.
But
White.
yeah, I'm gonna keep playing, and I'm enjoying it, but it's always hard to follow up. I'm trying to think the last time a game followed up. I played a game that followed up something I liked as much as Bayonetta 2. Probably Wind Waker after Ocarina of Time. No,
How
it's
about
got to
the
be one
last
since
one's
then.
part 2?
I mean, The Last of Us wasn't on the level of Bayonetta
Oh.
2, I should say. It's always tough
I
following.
just think we'll come off Bayonetta 3, right? And then we'll go to God of War Ragnarok, and we'll go, what the fuck is this battle system? This slow ass piece of boring shit.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
not what you're just gonna say.
It might say that, but at the
Damn.
same time, I think it's going to be a nice change of pace from Bayonetta to God of War.
Yeah, it's gonna slow
Oh,
down.
you can't handle the pace. It's too crazy for you.
Yeah,
I
Too
understand.
crazy for you, Juice. You need to slow down with God of War.
I got enough.
Getting old,
I got
that's
enough
what it
pure platinums so far that it's not skill that's holding me back. Even though I watch some people have already done, it's like, are you kidding
Now
me?
you flexing and shit.
How the
Nice
hell did this
flexing.
person pull
You
that
get
combo
compared to
off?
me, man.
It's like there's people pulling off the most ridiculous combos. Same with Devil May Cry 5, where I was like, I never even knew that was possible. At least in Bayonetta
Oh, that's a
series,
trash
I can get
fucking game.
close. But yeah, there's some really
Damn.
cool
Always
combos
gonna
already
happen.
coming out.
It's always gonna happen.
But I'm actually looking forward to God of War. But I might play Plague Tale first. I might get that.
Really?
I didn't know that was. I
And
thought
boy, gorgeous.
I thought that was gonna be. I didn't realize they doubled the scope of the game because the first game I feel like 7 to 10 hours maybe. I didn't feel like it was
People
very
say
long.
that, but you talking about Plague Tale?
And I got to look at my playtime.
I've been at this for like 15, 16.
I don't think I
hours,
was anywhere close to that. But
But then again, you know me, I'd be exploring.
the sequel is probably 15 to
Checking them
20.
vistas.
They say 15 to 20, and I don't know why I wasn't expecting
That's
a
probably
I wasn't
25 to
expecting a
30 for me.
$60 game either. Like I was like, oh, because I just thought they're a smaller studio. It's a smaller game series. I didn't realize.
Have you seen it?
Have you seen
But
it?
now I've
Look-
seen, yeah,
look
that was
how much
before.
you think that? I'm sure
It
the
is a
budget ballooned.
huge visual step up. I'm talking
Yeah.
huge. I was like surprised. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about it because it's like people don't look like they used to. You know, they look too good.
So yeah, I might play that in between, get God of War later, but
Hey, gotta get that Game Pass. You know?
I will say I was watching a video on
You gotta pay for it.
I was watching a video on I don't know if it was just God of War, if it was action games, and someone showed like a side by side of the original God of War and then the new the 2018 God of War once you have all your abilities and stuff. And honestly, like they probably pulled the most similar shots they could, but they replicated the combat, with the original weapons, the blades. It
You
looked,
mean the original God
Yeah.
of War, like PS2?
yeah, the 1 and 2, maybe it was footage from 3, but they all 1, 2, and 3 all played very similar.
Well, 3 is PS3.
And I don't think people give the new God of War enough credit for it still having that visceral action. Yeah, you can't. The one thing you can't do is the jump, which really doesn't make sense that they got rid of that. But it's still, it's got a lot of depth to it. There's a lot of combos. There's a lot of stuff you can do, especially with the tougher enemies. I don't think it's as far away from the original as some people suggest it is.
I
feel like I'm disagreeing again.
I will say this because I'll let Clock to handle the old God of War comparison because I haven't played the old God of War, so I can't make that comparison. I'll just say God of War 2018's biggest issue for me was always that it wasn't that, like, because I enjoyed the combat, even though I had my issues with the game. I enjoyed the combat for 2018. My problem with 2018 is that 2018 said, we're just not going to do basic shit that it could have done to make the combat. Like, the camera thing still bothers me because
You couldn't move the camera in the old games, though. You could do not. I mean, but it was more
But the camera
zoomed
was,
out.
but I said the camera was pulled back to where I could see everything. I don't like the fact that the game, it felt like the game traded basic mechanical like uses in like a normal video game for the sake of like cinematics, and it irked the shit out of me because I'm like, you know what? It's kind of cool to throw your axe and kill an enemy, and I think later on, can't you get the ability to where you can throw the axe and it'll stick to the enemy and it'll fling the enemy back towards you? You could do some cool shit in 2018 God of War, but like then you had shit where I get shot in the back by a straight arrow or whatever the fuck. Because this red reticle just gives me a general
We
idea.
have this
that something's
conversation
coming.
all the time, and I'm
Yeah, I
keep
know.
bringing this up. It
know, I
plays
know.
more like Doom, where you're not supposed to just sit in one spot, throw your axe, or keep your back to something. If in front of you there's an opening, that's what I do anyway. I run to it, turn around, and make sure no one's gonna be building up a group of enemies behind me. I just always stay moving. I always keep going. I don't ever stay still where something can. Yeah, every once in a while, an enemies will get behind me and stuff. But that's the whole point. Is you got to get yourself in a better position.
The only counter I mainly have to that is that the difference between the way Doom handles it and the way God of War handles it is that in Doom you can't combo enemies. Like in Doom, you're not meant to spend more than maybe a couple seconds on an enemy. Whereas God of War, you can combo an enemy if you know how to play the fucking game. So to me, it punishes the ability to combo. What is really
I don't think
you
you can
is
get
just-
hit while you're comboing though. Sometimes I think maybe you can, but
I'm just saying God of War at least has the ability to combo in it, and somewhat encourages it, and then immediately says, "Well, you're taking too long on this one enemy," and that's the reason why I said having the camera zoomed out would have made it easier to be able to duck and weave. It's a shame because it was closer. I would never say it's on the same level as like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, but I would say the older games were closer to that than the new one is, and it felt like you just kind of turned it into a more generic game that has slightly better combat than like other games in the cinematic genre. But that's just me. I'll let Clark to go ahead because I know you were going to say something.
No, I don't want to fully defend the original God of War's combat and and then knock down the new God of War's combat because to me they're both fundamentally great games of what they're trying to do. But what my gripe was always with the new God of War is that we always just said that he became just too grounded, and what that meant was like in the original God of War, you could hold square. Right? I remember the kind of, I used to play him loads. Hold square, he'd get both the chains of Olympus. He'd flick like that, both lift the enemy and himself into the air, do his attacks, and then he could like fling one chain down, bring him back up like that, do more attacks, do spins through the air, just all these types of combos that you could manage with Kratos. A quick flick of the right analog stick, he'll dart roll in each direction. Now, yeah, by the third game, it got quite repetitive and a bit boring, which is why they realized that they needed to try and do something different. Now, well, yeah, the fourth one, which no one talks about essentially.
Nobody talks about essentially.
So, yeah. But what happened with the new one was, yeah, they changed direction, and the direction worked. It's still a great game. But then, even though there was some fan service, it was still fundamentally a different game in both how they approach combat and even how they approach spectacle. You just put on God of War 3, and the opening to that when you're fighting Poseidon and his serpents and his horses and stuff. It's just as a spectacle. It's just
that opening on God of War 3 was ridiculous.
It's on another level. So those are where the complaints came, and what just grounding Kratos just meant it just felt more like your regular third person action game instead of feeling like God of War, I suppose, in that respect, because you had neutered Kratos in many ways, giving him some newer abilities, but they were all still grounded. It doesn't mean that they were bad. They were just different, and each person is going to either prefer or prefer one version or the older version. I don't love everything. Real quick.
What's up with these children today? Okay, it's Halloween, you know what I'm saying? And they come to your door and just
no trick or treat.
Shouldn't you be saying something?
Oh my goodness!
They just stand there blank face like that.
That's some disrespectful shit.
Is that because you open the door like Martin Lawrence? Who the fuck are you?
Who the fuck are you?
Yeah, I mean,
I just had to get that out. That's all.
So let's talk about younger generation. One of my the Rocket League team, the pro team I follow, version 1, they have one of the best players in North America. He goes by Beast Mode. I don't even know if he knows where Beast Mode originated from. It's just this little nerdy white kid. I don't know if he really knows what Beast Mode is, but that's his.
Probably heard it somewhere.
That's his name. That cool. He's one of the best players, and he posted on Twitter he was playing a ranked lobby with people like half his rank skill. There's like this I don't know how you want to describe it. There's a number that somehow represents your skill level, and like the pros are like 2200, and a high level ranked player is like 1700. There's like this gap. That's how they know. And he was playing in a rank lobby, and he didn't score any goals, and the people were trash talking him. How's this? This isn't the dude that just won a regional event. He didn't even score a goal. Did he score any goals? And the dude was just on fire during this event. And I like he seems like a good kid. He's 17 years old. He couldn't handle that trash talk from these dudes who were probably salty because he's a pro player making good money playing Rocket League, and he's one of the best in the world. Trash talk him, and he's like talking about it's gonna make him retire early from the game and all this. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I almost wanted to reply. I said, dude, that's soft. Like, that's not even that. That's not. They're not even like hitting you anywhere near personal. Like, that's just, oh, did he even score in in the regional event, like the dude had some of the best goals people had ever seen, and he's letting that get to him, and that's just, I don't know if that's just all
Kids
young.
today ain't got no cojones.
that to me is just, that is what happens
They
when
soft.
you're catered to, and he might just be an only child that was spoiled, because my nephew's like that. His mom
Yeah.
just babied him his whole life, and now he's this little snowflake. He's a big dude, you know. He's like
Oh, yeah.
6'2". He's muscle, but he is so soft. He is the definition of a snowflake, and he
Damn.
and then he's mad at his mom, calling her selfish and all this. Like, dude, she took care of you and took care of everything you ever needed, babied your ass, and now you're calling her out for stuff like that's. And he can't handle any kind of joking around. It's just, to me,
I grew up with thick skin. These kids today got thick skin.
and that just, I'm just like,
Oh.
man. And
How dare you, T?
Melanie Mack made a good video on, and I'm not gonna, I'll paraphrase, but basically she was mad at some of the thin-skinned girl gamers making.
You mean some foreskin individuals.
Making it look bad, making girl gamers look bad because they can't
I was
handle
like, what?
any kind of trash talk, and she's
Yeah, they can't handle it. I as a teacher, I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. I was like, these kids today are so babied. They're so babied. And it just all the way until like high school. And it's just like they can't handle anything. And it's part of the school system too, because they come up with these new like how to handle situations, like just the corniest, stupidest stuff. Like, no, you just discipline people, and that's
Mhm.
how it works. And it's better for them. You're setting these kids up to not be ready for the world. And
exactly.
it's just going to be terrible when they get out there and have to, handle things on their own.
Now I'm not
That's why
advocating for
everybody's on
bullying.
Prozac and
I
all
will
these,
advocate for violence. though. Fuck
Everybody's
that.
like, "Oh, you advocate for bullying?" No, bullying is
No, I'm talking
wrong.
about
I was
bullying.
bullied,
I mean,
but at the same time,
I was bullied too. Look at me.
it
Look at me
doesn't
today.
help anybody to like shield people. That's why I don't know if you guys have
No.
known any homeschooled, anybody that's been homeschooled.
Mhm.
Those
Oh, yeah.
motherfuckers, as soon as they get out in the real world,
They lose
become
their fucking mind.
crazy. I
Yeah, they lose
mean,
their shit.
I have I know a couple boys and girls. Two of the girls were like pregnant instantly as soon as the real world hit. Just like, boom, they were done with their homeschooling. They went out, got jobs, boom, pregnant. And it's like, and then my buddy, his cousin married a homeschooled girl, and she's the opposite. She is just the smart. She just takes care of everything. She's like the exception for the ones I know. So it's not everybody, but I'm saying I know my cousin homeschooled. Next thing you know, he's getting arrested for transporting like 8 pounds of marijuana before it was legal. Like, it's just one of those things. If you tell kids no for long, that's going to make them want to do stuff even more. So I don't know, we're getting off topic, but that was something
You brought it up, man.
half
But
gaming.
I just want to say real quick because Trilink made a good point. It's like you would think kids today would be better or more, have a
Suited.
thicker skin about it because they grew up in like the social media era and like
Mhm.
that's all you like. I don't know if I would have been able to deal with the world, growing up and having to have all this online stuff and all the trolling and all that kind of stuff.
All the trash talk on like
Trash
Call of
talk.
Duty
Yeah,
lobbies and stuff.
you think these kids would be more ready
Right.
for that stuff, but they
They're
are
not.
not. They're
They're
worse.
not. They're not.
Yeah, and I think it even applies to the whole courting, boys trying to court girls,
God.
all
Oh,
that
God.
stuff is just,
Oof.
they're not, because everything's done in text messages and emails. It's easy to make a really good sentence and be really clever when you got 5-10 minutes to think about it. And
And they're
then
learning from the most toxic, horrible men about how to be women, talk to women. It's just
but then
it's
in the
bad,
real world,
bro.
it's like, it's hard. It's completely different. And it's like, it's a
Oh, well,
wake up
yeah.
call.
I will say real quick story. I ran to I saw a child break into tears because of a really basic roast that happened in the high school I was working at somewhat recently. He was talking all this trash. And he's like, "Hey man, and the teacher's like, listen, I don't mind you guys talking class, but you're gonna have to come up with some better punchlines than that." He's like, "What you man's like? Look, let me give you an example. The dude, he's kind of big, but his body's kind of fucking square. So he goes, bro, you look like you built like a cardboard box. And he was like, and the kid just, and this big 6'2" heavy pound dude just goes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he started crying off of that. Just off
What
that.
grade level?
11th.
What?
Oh my God.
I was like, yo, what is? And I looked at him. I said,
That's
"Bruh."
like, what is that? 17?
Yeah, he's
That's
like
like
17.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 17.
16,
And he was like, I'm insecure about my size.
Oh my.
And I was like, what?
Dude, that same shit happened to me at work. This kid was like 19 years old. And he's like, I'm insecure about that, about my, like, dude, no one said anything
worst-
bad.
I mean,
worst-
notice that,
the
and
worst
also like
one-
if you're insecure, but man, you could do stuff about it. You know, it's not like you can
go
do
to
anything
therapy.
about it.
Well, he was a mama's boy.
Everybody talking about therapy, and motherfucker still ain't going. Motherfucker was
You don't
like,
need therapy for that. Like,
No,
Well,
I'm saying like if
I'm
you're
just
like, bro,
saying-
let's get to the gym, man.
I'm
Let's
saying,
do it.
I'm
Let's
saying, the one thing I kept hearing was like, well, listen, y'all's generation, y'all just had to deal with the trauma. Y'all never went to a therapist and talked about it. I said, okay, fine, but you're not going to therapy either, and you're over here talking about how you have anxiety and you're fucking insecure and shit. I said, well, how did the doctor diagnose you? Did the doctor not recommend therapy? Oh, I'm
that's
self-diagnosed.
self-diagnosed, yeah.
Motherfucker, that's why, you fucking asshole. Go to the doctor and prove it, bitch. Give me a sheet of paper. I hate that shit.
It's like, I know that not
Terrell's
everybody,
the teacher saying that, and kids like,
not everybody is about firing back. I know I've known
Shut your
people
soft ass up.
that don't trash talk. Retro Death is one of probably my favorite thing about Retro Death is that dude can take,
He could take.
he can take it. You know,
yeah,
and
takes a
he
lot of
dishes
notes.
it. He dishes it. He may have some funny ass shit. He says,
well, one day we'll break him.
but
Dying, aren't we?
that to me that's commendable, and it's not like we're really digging personal shit, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just talk about his Days Gone obsession and or stuff like
Yeah.
that, you know, like and everybody likes crappy stuff, you know.
By the way, that was my favorite saga because Juice would do that shit where he would send me pictures of the game glitching and then be like, "Oh, I thought the game didn't glitch."
I did. I told Retro, he misunderstood me. He thought I was I forget what angle he thought I was at. I was like, no, dude. I said, I'm just fucking with you because you kept saying there was no glitches. Like, if you kept, and then you kept saying it again. Like, if you would have just stopped, I would have stopped. Like, I'm just firing back because you kept insisting there wasn't glitches. I said,
What was it that time? I think
I'm
we were
just
doing
fucking with you.
We were doing that share play on fucking PS4, and you let me play the game
For what, 2 minutes?
And we saw the fucking dude hanging off the side. It was hanging off a
And it
tree
starts-
or some shit. And he just like,
a dead body hanging, like a warning, and it just started going.
and Juice had me in tears. Juice was like, I didn't run into any glitches in this game.
I mean, it was literally the
Every
first.
game
It was
has
within
glitches.
2 minutes. It was within 2 minutes.
And what made it
Uncharted
worse
is
is
probably one of the most polished games ever. And I got into a situation where I kind of left my brother character, and he just kind of started gliding across the screen to catch up with me.
See, I like Horizon
I
Forbidden
recorded it.
West, but
Funny
that
as ever.
shit, that has got some weird bugs in it, you know? And
Yeah.
they happen, some of them happen quite frequently. Well, they patch a lot of it now, but initially. But anyway, God, I still got one thing to say about Bayonetta 3.
Oh,
And,
shit.
Clocked it, be prepared to disagree.
I'm done now.
You can disagree. Now that I've played it, I'm on chapter 4.
Mm-hmm.
That game is bland as hell looking,
Oh.
man. That game
Dang.
is bland as
You can't
hell.
combat that one. I've heard that all over the place, and I've seen it myself.
I've had a couple moments where I was like, all right, I'll take a screenshot. That is some
falling apart.
bland ass fucking looking game. Even the more colorful areas. There's been 2 standout moments. Like I just took a screen cap. That looks amazing. But generally
game before
speaking,
that,
just
yeah.
moving through levels, you got all this smoke blocking you all. It's just a bland ass looking game. It's got nothing unto in that regard.
Clocked it.
Sorry.
What's going on, man?
Everything I said about it before I played it was true. I mean, there's nothing.
I got a headache.
But I will say,
Certain segments, right?
the character models
No.
have gotten quite a significant bump. Just skin textures and just the design of the characters, they all look way better. than the second game. It looks like a generational difference between the character models, but just the color palette, just the design. It's just there's not much interesting going on, and it's an action game, but there is a lot of exploration. They're pushing for bigger environments, and I'm just like, I'm
Who
quite
gave it a 10? Somebody gave it a 10. Was it
Nintendo Life. I mean,
And sit your ass down.
I'm not
should've
saying
hired-
it's not going to be a 10.
They should've hired you on there.
Nintendo Life. A few people gave it a 10 though.
I'm not going to argue somebody's opinion of the game. I'm just telling you what I think. And I don't know that would, I don't think that would bring, I don't know if that would affect the overall score when I'm done with the game.
It might.
I just wish there's a little more interesting things going on.
It would for me, something like that. Again,
It wouldn't.
some people,
It wouldn't drop it down like
people
a
don't
whole point, but it'd be
No,
like
no,
a 0.5 or some shit.
So that's mine.
And that's something I noticed before I even touched the game. I still haven't.
Yeah,
Really touched it.
well, I mean, you can look at it and go, yeah,
Yeah.
two is gonna look better.
There's
And I've
areas in
heard-
Xenoblade Chronicles 3 I was like, whatever. It's nothing. It's nothing bad. It's just not doing it for me. And then there's areas where I'm like, oh my god, this looks fucking. This is just makes me feel like I'm in this fantasy world. I'm just like in awe of everything I'm looking at, so it can have both. But then
And I heard
there's
it's just certain areas like, I heard it's mostly in the beginning, but I don't know.
actually I didn't
that's what
mind
I heard.
the Tokyo stuff as much as I thought. I thought there were some better looking areas in the city.
I just like on what world are we living in when someone can say Bayonetta 3 looks bland? It just blows my
I'm
mind.
talking
Right.
about the
Well,
art
people
direction. I'm
were
not
saying
talking about everything
Yeah.
that's
What do you mean
happening.
the art direction? What game are you playing? Are we playing the same game? You still,
The
you still
environments
playing,
are
you
just-
still, you still playing Nier
Environment.
Automata? I think he's playing Nier. He's not playing Bayonetta. He's playing Nier. If you said Nier was bland, I'd be like, yeah, Nier's
Also
bland.
bland.
Nier's
That's
bland.
what turned me off
The
the
stage-
game.
Then you have Nier. There's bland. He's bland. That's Nier bland. And then you got Bayonetta 1 up by
No,
there.
Bayonetta 1 is near
What?
right neck and neck for me.
What?
Bayonetta
What?
1 and Nier a neck
Yeah.
and neck.
Oh,
we playing
no.
the same
Bayonetta
game?
1
would-
is a
I would
bland
say
looking
that.
game, man.
It's not.
I wouldn't say it's a bland looking game.
It's
Bayonetta
not
1
great.
at all,
It's
but-
not great. I want that to be stated. It's not great.
Color
It
palette
is very good.
wise, like
To be fair, my
level
biggest
design
issue.
wise.
My biggest issue with Bayonetta 1 is more of its level design. Than
But they
anything.
make up for it with just the most amazing like enemy designs and enemy
Right.
Yeah.
fight patterns.
So in Bayonetta 3 so far, I didn't want to give any spoilers away, and I'm seriously gonna try not to give any spoilers.
Do I need to
away,
take my earphones out? I'll take my
No, you
earphones.
don't. You don't. We've been through scenarios where we've been on cruise ships while cities are flooding. We've been
Cool stuff's
surfing
happening,
on
it's just-
giant dinosaurs and boats. We've been to a Persona 5, a Persona person's wet dream in a Bayonetta universe. We've been to all these. We've been to a place that looked very familiar from Bayonetta 2. I was like, hey, is that the same place? I think it might be. I'm not sure. They've called it something else, but it looks like the same place. And I took so many screenshots just standing there. I don't understand. So when you're saying bland, let me get this right.
I'm gonna
When
show
you're
it
saying
right
bland,
now.
you're
I'm gonna
talking
share
about
the screen.
color palette wise, right?
Yeah,
and
color
those-
palette mostly.
seen some shiny like
This is
wall texture.
this is bland to me.
All right, let me see.
Not that
No,
hard.
I haven't.
This
clicked it.
section right
Yeah,
here.
but I was very confused.
This could be any game. This could be any. This does not feel like Bayonetta. Other than the mountain in the background, this just right here. This is just. This is on par with Nier for me. Like this section. This is not a huge area, but you've come here twice so far. I've been here twice.
It's like Sonic
The
Frontiers.
background, there's some cool stuff, but I'm just like foreground stuff. Like, you got some generic trees. You got
They're
some
both
grass. Like,
Sega.
this is to me. This is bland.
It's
This
much
is,
version of
this
Sonic
is
Frontiers.
bland.
This is the area that you're in now, right? Is that's leading up to this vault type area. Now, I don't want you. When
Yeah,
you
I
go
just
up the
picked this
stairs,
because it's
when you
very
go up the
safe.
stairs, things happen. So what you're talking about is fine. What you're saying is the landscape looks. You think it looks flat
Right,
and
so it's right.
Yeah, this
brown
is
and
just
boring
one
and stuff.
example that I knew didn't have any spoilers, so I clicked it. But
I
to me,
wouldn't-
this is just uninteresting. It's just let's call
But
it what
how
it
long?
is.
It's like
What else can you call? What do you call
I-
it? Do you call it attractive? Do you call it beautiful? What do you call that
No,
area?
I'm not saying that, but it's kind of like that nitpicking, let me just go to this specific area just by
Well,
here and say, hey, that looks
Yeah,
bland.
to be fair,
Like I
That's
said,
gonna
I didn't
that's
want to
my
show
whole thing.
anything from the.
the man skipped
even though
2
we're there
minutes,
for
and then we got some beautiful looking purple area. And
Oh, it's
yeah,
still
and
sharing.
even though we're there for like 30 seconds of
Yeah,
our
but
life in
all
Bayonetta.
right. Listen,
Nobody's saying the
I said
entire
I
game is
picked
bland.
that
We're saying
spot
that there's-
because it's very safe for people. No spoilers, no nothing. I didn't want to risk showing something.
It's bland
But-
fucking. If you want to be like that, it's like there's bland areas in Breath of the Wild. There's bland areas in
Yeah,
Mario
I was
Odyssey.
giving you an
If you're just
example.
rolling over sand, what am I doing? Oh, this is just sand.
But
Fucking bland, Brad. This is
do you
bland.
disagree
Yeah,
that
but
What am I
that's
doing? I'm
bland?
going over grassy field here. I'm gonna go over Hyrule Field. Oh, this is bland. But
Yeah.
hey, there's something down there. Let me get
To be
down
Let me
there.
ask
first.
this.
Juice did
the character
Juice
out of
did
that
say
scene.
Bayonetta
still
3
know-
is bland. So that what it makes sound like is the game overall is bland.
I'm saying that, but I didn't
If I
want
was
to
a
show
rich-
something
if I
that
was
could
rich
show
Bayonetta,
spoilers. So I picked this
If I was a
very
Reaper character
specific
out of that
area
scene-
that's safe.
No. You can show it, but
And I
wouldn't
wanted to
click
give
it.
you an example and clocked it. I asked you, would you agree that what I showed there, that's an example of bland design for me. I'm just telling you, just to give you a baseline. That's an example. That's what I consider bland
Okay, so
looking
in
design.
that particular small area right there, I would say, yep, that looks pretty
Okay,
generic.
and I feel
what
that
I'm
way
saying, though.
throughout the game so far. Not to that level. There's areas, like I said, there's areas that look fantastic, but overall, I feel like it leans more towards a more bland style than it does, something closer to the peaks. I feel there's a couple peak moments. For the most part, I'm just like, these areas aren't doing anything for me visually.
This doesn't sound like an 8 out of 10, man.
It is.
Don't let this be a Robert and Ghost of Tsushima situation now. Don't let this turn into
Yeah, because I don't let something like that like really affect the score of a game. That's just one point.
I don't want this to be like
Like
Robert and Ghost of Tsushima where y'all were like, yeah, man, the
Eventually I
game's
start
great.
going down.
Yo,
No,
yeah,
I can't. I've already played so much of Bayonetta 3 so far, right?
And I heard the later areas are better.
We got super happy Juice over there. He's giving it 8 out of 10, but calling it bland and isn't too thrilled with the combat and
The
isn't,
spiders driving me
and
crazy.
the spiders driving me crazy. I like what you like about it. I like the way Bayonetta looks. I like some of the combat. That's it. I'm just like, man, just give me something, because
I gotta describe what I like about Bayonetta again. Like I said, it's over the top, crazy. The combat's fast and fluid. The
best part of
enemy
Bayonetta.
designs are creative. There's never a dull moment as far as like combat is concerned. But that's
really ambitious. And
that's
maybe that's part of
Bayonetta.
the
Like
issue.
that's what I like about
No,
Bayonetta.
it's not.
I'm
it's
talking
not
about
an
what this
issue.
game does
We've played
different.
Many overly ambitious games before, and they are still great. We could say
They're-
Perfect
yeah,
Dark
they're
on the
great, but you can still
N64
point
was
out-
over ambitious,
What
Yeah,
Rare
because-
did on N64 was over ambitious a lot.
but it's
We
still
love those
great.
games, but obviously when you dip down to 16 frames per second, that's still an issue. You still gotta.
Yeah, I know.
gotta
I know it's still.
dock it.
Are we at doctor? I just say just trying to get some level of enthusiasm and positivity out of Juice towards this game, even though he says, "What else do you want me to say? I like this, I like that." It's just it's difficult.
personality.
Yeah,
I
it's
know,
like
I know, I know.
I
from
told
know.
you it's in between 1 and
But
3.
what I'm saying, what I'm saying is, Bayonetta 3 is a great game. I mean, where have you got to, T? Because you don't sound too thrilled with it either.
You didn't play it yet.
You
No,
didn't play it yet.
look, I'm telling you, I told you before that I didn't sound too thrilled with it just by the build up to the game, like looking at it
Yeah,
and all that stuff.
I don't
haven't
want you. I
played it
don't
yet.
want you. I don't want you going into it thinking it's a bland game.
Look, I don't that none of that stuff ever affects me. If I'm playing a game and I'm having fun, that's all that
Yeah, I
matters. Like,
thought-
I'm not gonna go in and be like, oh yeah, that guy said this was bland, that background right there, and it's bothering me. That's not gonna.
Mhm.
No, if I'm playing a game and
Yeah.
having fun,
I just
But
brought it
I
up
can look at
because
reviews and see what they're saying. I can see it. And I
it's
can see
been
it in their
pretty
eyes.
documented, and argued that Bayonetta 1 versus 2. I know a lot of Nintendo fans when 2 came out were talking about how Nintendo's involvement led to a little bit tighter controls, a lot more colorful environments, and use of color overall. And I feel like it was pretty much accepted, except for some diehard Bayonetta 1 fans. That too was a nice change from the artistic style of the first game. Now, you can disagree or agree with that, but that was definitely a conversation that was going on. And after playing 1 and switching to 2, it was like, holy shit. It was like the sun or the clouds parted and the sun started shining on me, and it just was a significant change in a positive way for that game. Everything else was also, the controls were tighter, it was less punishing on the dodging, no quick time events. Even though it did the one negative, I would say, or one of the bigger negatives, it's not really a negative, but it does retread. I wouldn't say maybe a quarter of the game retreads Bayonetta 1. You kind of replay areas from Bayonetta 1. Maybe it's probably less than a quarter of the game. But so going to 3, I was hoping for another, jump or another continuation of a upward trajectory of that. And I feel like it kind of tapered back down more towards 1. But like I said, I don't know if you heard me, I have heard that the later areas is a significantly better looking art direction and environments and stuff than the earlier areas. So that's just my take after chapter 4. So I don't know how many chapters there are. So I'm expecting it to get better, but at this point, I wasn't exactly wowed, and I already knew that. I already said it in the previews, after the trailers. So we'll see how it all ends up. It could end up, by the time I finish it, I'm like, holy shit, that's definitely a game of the year contender. Or I could finish it and be like, damn, I'm glad that's done. I'm not expecting that, but I'm just saying there's still plenty of time. Because my initial take when I tweeted to you guys I wasn't loving the Demon Slave, I would have probably get the game was hovering between 6 and 7 at that point. I was not digging it at all. So I've gone up definitely a few points since then.
Review scores but I'm not digging it at all. But I'll give you a 7. it's kind of a high score.
6 or 7.
Not digging
a follow up to one of the best games ever made. A 6
really,
or 7.
I don't feel like a 7
trash.
is a high score.
7 is 3 points away from
for
10.
For a sequel to one of the best games, best action games ever made. That would be a disappointment, even if it's not a bad, terrible score. It'd still be a disappointment.
Oh wait. Well, quick question: What did you give 2? What do you give 2?
I forget.
Score-wise.
Back then, I wanted it was close to a 10, like 9.9 maybe.
You still feel that way?
After just replaying it earlier.
Okay. I just wanted to figure out where the baseline
But I mean,
was at.
I still have a few little nitpicks. But the story's ridiculous. I haven't even, honestly, that's one thing I got to keep in mind too. I keep forgetting. Most of my 65 hours in Bayonetta 2 came after Bayonetta was fully leveled up with all her moveset. It was kind of weird. That's why in the very beginning I was struggling, because I'm starting with basic Bayonetta again, like with very limited moveset. And I was like, holy shit, I got to remind myself that I got to play through it at least one time to get fully leveled up. And then anytime after that, it's basically, I guess you could reset your save file and start from scratch, but you just play it through all the levels again with all your abilities. So, and I just got a new demon ability right before the podcast, so I haven't barely touched it yet. It's a train. I don't know if you got the train yet, clocked it. Yeah, that one, I would be interested to see how that one ends up in where people rank the demons, but
I do find it interesting. It very much seems like it's following Devil May Cry 5's whole like weird fucking weapons thing. You're not saying the other Bayonetta games didn't have it, but this seems like the more out there in terms of weapon ideas. Like fucking, I think, what is it, yo-yos, a train, what the hell's the other one?
You got that huge, I don't know, demon.
It's like a club, isn't it? Or is it a gun?
It's both.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah.
And
I appreciate
but it's amazing. When she gets it, I don't want to spoil it, but when she actually gets it. I
Yeah.
just smile on my face.
There's some
man. It's just-
amazing. Let's just be real. There's some really great Bayonetta moments where they definitely motion captured some dancing, a dancer. You know, there's all that's in there. You know, so far.
She still feels like Bayonetta essentially.
Let's wrap this up with, and this is a very, very small, teeny tiny part of the gaming or Twitterverse. Apparently, there's some people upset. A couple groups are upset that, you know, it's implied that maybe Bayonetta's into guys, and there's a group of
It
people.
always has been.
There's a group of people who claim that Bayonetta's, and this is again very small,
What the hell did I
vocal
just open up?
minority, very small, and I didn't see it directly, but somebody made I don't know if it was on Twitter or YouTube. Somebody pointed it out.
Bayonetta's in the guys.
Somebody
damn.
somebody tried to say that the trans and gay community has carried the Bayonetta series since the beginning.
Never.
That's nonsense. That's
And
nonsense.
Never.
that's when I think people, you know,
Motherfuckers just want to.
extremists are extremists,
Motherfuckers want to take credit for things.
and they're
That's
mad
right.
because in their mind Bayonetta was gay
He was never gay.
and it's just like that's the kind of shit where you just force
There-
your fantasy onto something. It's like,
Oh, I know about it, and unfortunately, Retro isn't here to kind of correlate with me. But if
Free spirit. I would say she's a free spirit.
I wouldn't be surprised if she went both ways, and there's nothing wrong with
Right.
it.
No,
I don't care. It doesn't break
that
my
doesn't-
heart if she was I don't care.
that doesn't bother me. But
some
what
people
irks
mad,
me is
but-
the assumption that she was just specifically gay.
Because
That's
her and
what-
John
I don't know where
apparently
you get
have
that
this.
from.
Have
that
this
doesn't even bother me. What I don't understand is, I say what I don't understand is, yeah, it's just like who cares? Why do you even care? I
Because-
understand. I
Let me
understand
say
you're
this
trying
real
to
quick,
find
Rocky.
you're trying to find icons. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just want to say real quick. It's a combination of ones and zeros. It can't be gay. It's a digital character. It literally cannot be a gender or a sex or preference or anything like that. Stop with this nonsense.
And the
Just
whole
stop.
trying to
I don't-
act like straight men aren't the biggest audience for Bayonetta, and also
Hell,
I mean
Hell,
I wouldn't
guys are
know.
the biggest audience for Bayonetta. The
Yeah,
fuck?
just guys, period.
just
or-
guys
yeah.
in general. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's plenty of female gamers who appreciate Bayonetta for everything
no,
she does.
that is
What's-
100.
what's
That is also
that?
true.
That's why. That's part of why. You know.
But what do people gain to win by
Right.
winning either way? What do guys
Yeah, well, I mean,
gain
it's
to
so
gain
stupid.
to win it? They say, oh yeah,
Because
you know,
you gotta
Bayonetta was always
understand
about the guys.
You gotta understand something. When it comes to fandoms and shipping and like relationships and shit, it's not even specifically Bayonetta. I've seen this happen in anime. I've seen this happen in TV shows. When people have latched onto a character and they've created a headcanon of what the character is, when the game or the TV show or the anime episode comes out and they don't happen to be what they're thinking, it's an immediate, well, fuck you for changing what she really
That's-
is. But
that
I'm the one who made her,
narcissism?
bitch. What do you mean?
Is that narcissism or is that something else?
There's another word for it. It's not narcissism.
Yeah.
No,
It's
it's,
another.
it's not. It's not
narcissism.
narcissism.
Narcissism
There's
is
an-
when isn't that like version of selfishness? Like
Yeah,
everything's
yeah,
about
yeah.
you, the world revolves around you. Isn't that narcissism?
Yeah.
That's
No,
that's
you're
kind of
right.
how it applies, I think.
That my issue and the other argument that always irked me is that people say, "Oh, is that people making that claim?" But in the first game, who did she flirt with the most? Luca. The
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah.
Like
But-
she fought like the whole thing with Jean. They were fucking enemies for like the majority of that
Mhm.
game until like the latter half of it. But for some reason, people forgot that. Hell, is it because the second game she went out of her way to save her? It's almost like she cared about her or
Yeah.
something. She must.
Yeah.
She must
That's
be
the
gay.
thing. She could. There's
She
nothing
gotta be
wrong
gay
with
now.
it. There's nothing wrong if that's what you prefer to believe, but it's almost it's just this
Why do you
whole
have to enforce it?
That's-
Like
that's-
this
yeah.
has to be like.
and
can't you just be
don't
happy?
talk like you that
That's what
that
I was
community's
just
carried
about
this
to
game
say.
series. Sorry.
you can you can always speculate about these things like we all do about every character in fiction or whatever, when we don't have the full clarity details from the person who needs to give you those full details giving it to you, right? And sometimes even when that person does tell you no, some people still not believe it and say, but before in 1996 you said this and and all that stuff. They'll still hang on to something. But what I just don't understand is, like I said, what do you? Doesn't matter, what gender you associate yourself with, whatever. What do you gain, especially from like a character like Bayonetta or like smaller, things like this? What are you trying to what kind of leverage are you trying to gain for yourself or for your for people who are similar to you in body and mind and stuff? What would happen if they came out and said, yeah, okay, fine, Bayonetta is trans? What does that do? Is it because then you feel like you've got these other people then saying, yeah, there we go, trans people exist. Now we have something else to to back us up, to say, I understand people trying to get out there and try to find things. That the problem is, and we see it a lot in they say they try to to some people try to push it a bit more in media, which is absolutely fine. It's important to recognize. But the fact that you're already in groups, recognize it for yourselves. I know you're trying to get the rest of the world to recognize. Never going to happen. You can't get half of the world don't even care about Christians. Half the world don't care about Muslims. Half of the world don't care about what country you're from. Whatever, there's always going to be a certain level of no one gives a shit.
Trillink's comment.
Trilink, dog. If she's trans, we'll get rid of my fucking body pillow.
See, I wouldn't.
But it's I don't understand the victory trying to be ascertained here.
I think because why is because obviously trans and LGBTQ plus A communities, they're smaller communities, so they want to have their icon, and I'm like, I get that, but don't just fucking latch onto these characters who have never been confirmed to be or even shown to be. So
why don't you continue to? I know you want more and stuff, but like we've had new releases in one of T's favorite series, the Fear Effect. Is it Fear Effect?
Fear Effect.
Yeah, Fear Effect series, right?
Yeah, I don't hear nobody championship Fear Effect. Fear Effect was doing that shit before it was like a thing,
and there's been recent new releases as well. Like people just like to pick and choose.
Man. Ellie.
What's that?
The last was part 2 with Ellie. She's
she got mad about that one though.
People got mad about that. Yeah,
Who would get mad about that one?
There's got to be the perfect situation as always. There's got to be the perfect situation. For everyone.
They set it up in the DLC. Everybody thinks it was just in 2, but the DLC, which came out 2014.
Yeah.
And talk about not worth the money. What was that? $15-$20 DLC is like 3. It's like 3 hours. Most of it cinematic. Like,
I know people love we all love representation, right? We want to see similar things in every from that connect to us in more of our everyday lives, especially when it comes to entertainment and media and stuff. And there are things that need to be done for a lot of things. We know that, but I think sometimes you just need to pick your battles and not try to force things that essentially don't exist. Where we could fundamentally argue with a lot of evidence that in this case, Bayonetta is, more in this direction than that direction. This one is a pointless battle to get heated over and try to win.
Especially, apparently, I'm just gonna paraphrase or quickly. And my brother's gay, and he said the same thing in the past. But it's almost like someone being mixed race. They feel kind of left out, and I guess that's the same thing for bisexual. They feel like the gay and lesbian community are a little less accepting.
Everybody.
No, but this is coming from.
No, also my thing is this. Let's say to me
I don't Americanize the world either.
No. But I'll say this though. The most that if we're gonna have the conversation, more than likely, if Bayonetta was gonna be anything, she probably would be bisexual.
Yeah, she's definitely.
Would Would
I have
people
no
be
problem with
mad?
that.
But here's my thing: would people be mad if she was bisexual instead of being gay? Like, does it specifically mean? Does it
Apparently,
mean?
there's some
Oh yeah, somebody
that
would
would be
be mad.
bothered by that.
No one would be.
That's what I'm saying. That's like I said, just
You always lose.
talking, hanging out with my brother and all his group of friends. Obviously, he tries to hang out with people that are like him and surround himself with people so they can just be them. Don't have to feel weird about being who they are, which I completely understand. And I've been the only straight guy in a group of like 30 people, and it does definitely seems like I would say that. But the point I was gonna make was someone said, "Well, she's obviously bi at the most. She's definitely not just a
I don't know if
lesbian."
that's obvious either, but okay.
And
I
and
said if you're
somebody's
gonna,
like
if you
was like they were mad about that, the possibility of her being bi, not just because she's supposed to be lesbian. It's just like, are you kidding me? Like,
I think because people don't like that. Also, because we're also in a weird part of time where the
it's cancel
men
culture
bashing,
stuff too.
the men bashing specifically though. So I feel like it's been very more like female oriented. So the idea that she's even interested in a male is just fucking grotesque. Even though, once again, it doesn't fucking matter because we're talking about a video game character. But if we're gonna play the game, the first person she openly flirts with consistently is Luca, for God's sakes. Like I don't understand how we're gonna pretend. We're just gonna pretend like that part of the game didn't exist. And
She's just a dominatrix. She's just hardcore. Will
Super
stamp
flirty.
on you, whip you, do whatever.
She's
She's that type of female
Strong-willed.
character.
oh no, definitely.
She's not ashamed. She's not embarrassed
What's
by it.
the-
She embraces it 100%. And if you don't understand that about Bayonetta, then you just probably haven't played the
And then
games.
when you go that far out, people then think, well, no woman can be like that. She got to be something else. You think, no, you can.
I've
You
known a
can.
couple.
Women that
I've
love
known a
That's
couple
why.
like that.
I mean, hell, there's women now who actively don't like Bayonetta because they think she's just a sex
Well,
object. Even though there's a bunch of women who find her empowering.
It's funny because
Right.
8 years ago,
Have you played the game?
8 years ago, the
I would ask.
conversation was so different. It's just like, oh, she's over sexualized. We got to stop having sexualized female characters in games. Now it's like, oh,
She's not enough.
she's not
sexualized.
a lesbian, so now it's bad. Like now she can't be sexualized. Like it's just crazy. And it's always Bayonetta. Like we had to go through this with 2. I mean, I told the story, and I still haven't looked up to find the interview, but they asked Helena Taylor, how do you feel about voice acting this overly sexualized character? Like it's one review.
Who cares what she thinks?
And she, her reply was she didn't know. She just did the voices without. She thought the lines were a little bit weird, but she didn't know the character was that sexualized. So that tells me she didn't help build the character like a lot of people were trying to say.
No, that was a check. That's what that was.
But and it's like the argument was that's not right. That's not right to have a woman that sexualizing her own self. Like that's just the men who made Bayonetta. Oh wait, she was designed by a female. Oh, and then they had to try to come up with another narrative. It's like it's just something about America, especially the U.S. the Western.
If Bayonetta was a person, she'd be like, I love this shit. She would love it. She would just love
What
the
it just boils
chaos.
down to mostly is that people just want, an abundance of representation of themselves and
But
what they believe they are in.
The problem though is that
They want to
there's a
overabundance.
difference. There's a difference between good and bad representation. And at this point, it just feels like they just want their shit, their stamp on shit. Well, then this character's gay, and this character is now a completely different. Like we got to play the game of just claiming shit. And I'm like, I feel like y'all be the same motherfuckers that get mad if you misrepresented a lesbian or misrepresented a gay person. But right now, it's just I'm making that pre-established character gay. That one trans. Hell, we'll switch the race of another one. It feels like a weird like.
Well, it's just they want to. There's a want to balance things out, and in that pursuit, we make things even more unbalanced.
Mhm.
It's just like
Yeah.
we go completely too far the other way, and
And then
That's
you
not good
become,
either.
and then you become the aggressor.
And it's
quote
like we
Right.
always talk about, just you go back to the 70s, you go to Aliens, go to the 80s with Predator. Those movies are like tons of diversity, strong female characters, not in Predators, but Terminator 2. It's like we had all this. It's like, it's just crazy that it got to a point where, we didn't, there wasn't the leading man. Like, it was always, there was a diverse cast, but it was more often than not. And I put this together, and I don't remember if I brought this up to you guys. Somebody was saying that I agreed with this woman's video, but she tried to make it like she knew the villain of every modern superhero movie or show as soon as she saw a white male. Oh, that's definitely in line. That's going to be the villain. And I was like, go back to Superman, 1978. Did it come out, or 77? Who was the villain?
The original one.
Lex Luthor. Who's the villain of Batman, 89? The Joker. Who's the villain every superhero movie except Black Panther and maybe 2 other movies? Who's the villain of Blade? Fucking Steven Dorff. I can't think of the character's name. A white male has been the villain of almost every superhero movie ever made. And
his name is Frost. If you're talking about
Deacon Frost.
Deacon Frost.
And the hero too, mama.
But someone was trying to make the point that, hey, I can tell who the villain's going to be in this movie because it's a white dude. I'm like, that's been the villain for 40, 50 years. Like,
Right.
let's pretend like that. I said, I agree with everything you say, but that part right there is you're reaching, and you had good, this, I can't remember the main gist of the video. I think it had to do with Rings of Power and maybe She-Hulk.
The hero and the villain. How you gonna complain about them being villains?
It's like, it's
the
like
hero, the villain.
I think what we fundamentally need more than anything else is Shadow Man 3. Right, that's what we need. Yeah.
I
agree.
I will say a one counter to that, Juice. I think the issue because I think I know which video you're talking about. I think the issue is that how is it we win all this representation when it comes to like heroic females, but when it comes to villainous females, then all of a sudden, well, women can't be evil, and it has to be men, and then it specifically has to be like. So I mean, I get the white argument, fine, but like that's we're also playing the game of the women can never be evil in these shows or movies. They can either be misunderstood.
They're talking about she was talking about the popular like comic.
She was talking about like the Marvel ones, I think was.
But like I said, I gave like that is a
villain.
You can't say that a white male is the villain because what was it in the 70s? Why was it in the 80s? Why was it in the 90s? Like, it's not because they don't want to make a female villain. It's just for whatever reason Hollywood has chosen to majority of the time to have usually a white business dude is the villain in a lot of movies.
And that's not just, I don't think that's an agenda. I just think part of that is just what society thinks of as a villain. They don't,
or British.
They don't feel like women are British guys.
How many women have you ever seen rob a convenience store?
First off, the British, the British are evil. I don't understand. That makes perfect
sense.
I mean,
all those episodes of Cops I watched, I can't remember hardly any time seeing a woman like holding up a bank or, doing a drug deal or like. It's just kind of the way it is in the world, but
because she got the gun in her face.
But it would be more.
You would probably laugh. It's like, oh.
It'd be way more interesting if the villain in the end turned out to be somebody other than who you expect, but not in the Wonder Woman way where it's instead of this.
Al Ghul.
That was a good one.
That was a pretty good.
Dark Knight Rises. A lot of people give that movie shit, but I think it holds up. I just watched it.
It's just not as good. It's like it's very much.
It's got the biggest plot hole in hit movie history, but
it's got a lot of plot holes.
But still.
I mean, no. The problem is it's kind of like the whole Bayonetta 2 to Bayonetta 3 thing. You're following up what I argue is a borderline perfect film with that. It's not even that it's a terrible film. It's just. Do you see the 10 that just came behind it? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's hard to follow it up.
I'm gonna give a hot movie take.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
The final act of The Dark Knight, I think's overrated. I think that's weak.
He didn't even finish the sentence yet.
I already knew.
The whole
I already fucking knew.
Using
I thought everybody felt that way.
Using that technology to find the Joker on the building and then fighting him. The dog. to me that didn't do much for me. And the whole Two-Face ending, I was just like, I didn't feel it.
Oh, I thought you'd have the Two-Face in there. I thought that was a little much.
Two-Face and just the whole final confrontation with Joker, I thought was anticlimactic.
Really?
Come on,
Mhm.
bro.
I don't agree with that.
See, what is this bullshit? Let me get the fuck out of here, man.
I didn't think it lived up to the whole first 2/3, or not more than 2/3,
Dude,
probably
just
3/4.
stop talking, dog.
Because he was so good.
I had enough of bland. That's why I don't know.
He just ends up hanging upside down and laughing. Like, I don't know. I was hoping for more.
Because he's
it's
still
not terrible.
The...
It's not terrible.
That's
I'm not
so
saying.
Joker, bro. That's
such a Joker thing. Joker would lose Joker would lose the physical confrontation, but he won the moral battle.
He won. That
Two-Face is his victory. That's literally it. Like,
Yeah.
congratulations. Yes. I took the best man for the job, and I made him into that.
I get it, but the fact that Two-Face was I felt like such a disappointment that it just kind of deflated it for me.
Let me get, bro.
I didn't like Two-Face much, especially the way they made him look. I thought it was.
What? Come on, bro.
What?
Let me get out of here, dog. What are you talking about?
It just didn't work in the realistic. I don't know. It just didn't work.
What do you mean?
You can't just have Flash your mouth be wide. It just looks stupid.
This is the
no eyelid. No eyelid.
Really good.
No eyelid. Really the CG. It didn't work for me.
What are you talking about, man?
Just didn't work for me.
Honestly, it's like you think about it. It's like we really need.
I make all the time about people saying, "Oh man, King Kong, that don't make no sense. How they get him on that boat? Oh, that's not believable." Bitch, you're talking about a giant ape.
I know, but
you're talking about
they're trying to ground the Dark Knight. They were trying to ground it and take it from the comic book to real life.
So much you can ground it when you have Scarecrow running around with fucking.
Yeah, but you don't have to have like this big opening in his like that.
That was great. He looked so good. What the fuck, man?
Cool.
I've never liked how he looked.
What did you want him to look like? The fucking what was it? Tommy Lee Jones.
I mean, you
can't fucking thing.
You can't have him looking like you can't have him looking like Freddy Krueger in the reboot where he just looks like melted skin. There'd have to be I think somewhere in between what they did and
man, like, you just a problem today, dog.
Hey man,
just want to have Freddy Krueger on the half of his face.
Anyway,
you know what? I would have roasted Robert for that cheese thing, but
I thought the end of The Dark Knight Rises was the strongest part of the movie, where he sacked.
I wouldn't say that.
That opening was pretty damn good.
The opening was awesome too.
I think the opening.
How he got out, and then Alfred sees him with Selena.
Retro juice.
In the he looks up. I wish they didn't show him. I wish they would have cut with Alfred looking up and smiling. I wish they would have cut right there. That would have been more impactful, I feel.
Well, that shit was already too close to Inception for me, so
I know,
you know
but I was ready for it right there to end, and I'm like, that was amazing. And then they showed him and Selena at having lunch or breakfast, whatever they're having. And
because you would have known when he was smiling at.
Yeah, so I felt they probably had it cut, and then audience reactions were probably like, "What?
What's he smiling at?
What was he smiling at?"
Thinking, I should have got Liara.
I'm a dumb American. I don't understand what he's smiling about.
Yeah, because they probably didn't catch the line where he said that his dream of looking up and seeing him.
That was
having
2
a happy
hours
life.
ago. I don't remember that shit.
What the hell?
Because they don't trust.
What are you doing?
You ever had one of those?
Hey, Xbox. There's Xbox?
No, it's the Wii, man. It's the Wii one.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
I never even seen that.
The Wii had the Wii.
I'll give it to you.
That's right. The Wii did have that.
Yeah.
They're out of business. I think these dudes are out of business.
That was they are. What do you call that? Those guys.
A lot of companies went out of business during that generation.
Those guys were getting talked up, and their ambitious plans, and I was like, well, let's wait till like the games come out. Everyone was talking up. They had all these plans for all these games, and then the game comes out, and it's like
the 3DS one.
They're like, yeah, 6, 7 out of 10. You know, it was like the first Conduit.
What are you talking about, Conduit?
And that company just had I can't remember. They had like it was like a werewolf game or something. Or zombie.
Yeah, they did.
The Conduit was always 100% about graphics. Nothing else.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
What it
Nothing
was
else.
all
But
about.
that company.
I never
It was
even
that,
played
it
it.
was
I
that
knew that,
HD
man. I knew
era
that's
where
what
it
it
just
was
like
all
What's
about.
the
It
name
was
of that
about
company,
a
Robert?
shooter on Wii.
What was the
You know,
name?
Sorry.
shooter on Wii with the
The
well,
company?
this is a Sega game, but I think it's
It was a developer. It should be on there.
Yeah, because they
I
had
think
all
it's
these
high voltage
high
software.
voltage. Yeah, they had
Yeah.
all these plans they were talking about, and before like the first game even came out, and it was all about the graphics engine that they got working for the Wii, and everyone was talking it up. And then it was just like,
That sounds familiar, Mighty Number 9.
it was like, oh wait, just typical corridor shooter with boring
But at least
enemies.
it's.
Well, the
But I'm
second one's
sure
supposed to be pretty
It
good.
was good because of
I love
the
to.
aiming.
They
Right?
got some great weapon designs in it.
Yeah.
And
Some of the
I'm
levels
sure
are
to
very
be fair, like
N64.
playing if it was even if it's just a corridor shooter, it's even more appeal with the being able to do the Wii remote, like aiming and like, oh shit, this is cool. This is probably a good way of doing.
Corridor shooters are better than open world shooters. Fight me to the death.
Well, you gotta
Oh
play.
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I would agree. To be fair, too.
If they're good, I mean, they're good. If
Well,
they're both bad, it don't matter. If they're both great, it don't matter to
Well,
me.
I guess how many open world?
you have a better chance of being better.
Well, I
or
guess
good
yeah, Far
if
Cry
you're
stuff like
corridor.
that. But
Yeah, just if I just remember hearing about the Conduit, like every very similar level design, every level was kind of the same, looked the
It
same.
was great online. You ever played online?
No,
I remember
That's a good topic because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but
damn, we gotta get out of
I
here.
guess it was this week. Well, yeah, we'll get out here after this.
I will say,
There's oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
Let my man finish. Let my man
If you
speak.
got something to say, just go ahead.
I was just
Let
gonna
him
say the
speak.
problem with the Wii Online was you could just every game you had to just you created a name and then you just played. You didn't have any like way to transfer that. It didn't go into the next games or anything, so it was just kind of bunch of one-off accounts.
Yeah, and that's basically what I'm going to talk about here. The Wii Online, specifically Wii U. A group of people have brought back Miiverse.
Yeah.
They brought back online play. Like they're ready to do all this cool stuff once Nintendo completely shuts it down. But Miiverse is back. It's working in different games.
Crazy.
Phenomenal. It is a great time to
The
be alive as
Miiverse
a
actually it actually works in
gamer.
games.
Yeah, it's actually working in
Yeah.
games.
I didn't know
And it's
that.
just unbelievable what these
Yeah.
freaking fans have done.
You have
They're
to
still trying
mod
to
your
get
Wii
a
U. You
few
have to mod
things
your
Oh,
Wii
done.
U.
you
You
have
know?
to mod
You
it.
got to
I
mod your
think-
Wii U, but it's real easy.
Yeah,
You can do it in like 3 minutes.
they're still trying to iron things out. Like for
Yeah, they're
example,
ironing things out. It's not perfect yet.
yeah, they don't have they can't get the messages in the bottles yet in Wind Waker. I think they said and stuff like that. Just little things like that. But
Yeah.
But the
they got the
Splatoon-
comments on Mario. They got it on Splatoon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mario Maker
comments
1 levels
back.
work. Like Mario Maker 1, like
Yeah.
uploading
Mario Maker
it.
1 levels. Yeah, like you can make. Dude, it's
Damn,
great.
I gotta hook the Wii U back up.
They've been doing it. They also done it for Xbox Live, for your original Xbox. So if you want to go back and they got
Really?
servers up,
I have
yeah,
to
you
look
can
that up.
play online with your original Xbox.
Man,
go
no one wants
back.
to play Halo 2 online. Trash.
Well, I mean, Halo 2 Online was great. You know it.
Hey, man.
God damn.
I mean, why would you play it that way when
Did
you have
Halo
Master Chief
2
Collection?
have full screen online, or did you have to be split screen to go online? Because I know, like,
full screen as far as I know?
because I know to get the max amount of players in
Well, I never
Halo
really
1,
played.
you had to do 4-player split screen on 4 Xboxes to get the full.
Oh, the original Halo was just LAN. I remember at
Yeah.
the time everyone
Yeah,
they
the
would come to
original Halo you
PC
could play.
and
Halo
everyone was
2 was
begging
the
for it to
online
come to PC just for online.
Yeah.
I never played Halo 2, so I don't know how the online worked. But anyway,
Yeah.
so
But how cool is that? How
yeah,
cool?
that shit.
That's insane.
Community added Uni to Smash Brothers. They took Zero Suit Samus and added Uni from Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and it's
I saw
perfect.
that, yeah.
It looks perfect. It's like just I'll pay $2 for that, $3
There you
for
go.
a skin
Yeah.
over a character. You know, I don't need a unique move set. That's the next step for Smash. But
Yeah.
anyway, we'll get out of here. Daylight savings time. Plus, I had day off. Got clocked it in here. It's probably regretting it now after my Bayonetta and my movie takes. But it's just
Always
how I
happy to
feel,
be
man.
here.
It's just how I feel. So
Always happy to be here.
we'll be back next
Just
week.
go Triling's comment.
Happy Halloween to everybody, and we'll see you next time.